Wait, my mic was not even on. Hi, guys. My mic was not hot on the OBS. I'm like, wait a minute. I turned Logitech off, but I don't even have a Logitech. But hi, chat. It's your boy, the legendary Human Typhoon. And yes, we're live on the AniMa W3 Studio Vault channel, where we have our streaming, our gaming, our manga content, our VODs for anime reactions. We are here for the Stranger Things Season 1. I mean, Season 1. Season 5.
Season what?
Volume
Let's do it.
1. Volume 1.
Nani?
This is not 9 years ago. This is not 2016. We cannot pull it back.
It's
But if you guys want a coverage of Season 1 through 4, go check out Weeb's Lounge episode 201. I remember off the top of my head. Right, Walkers? Is that 201 off the top of my head?
Yes.
Yes. That's a confident yes. I heard.
Just check out,
Was it?
just check out all the episodes. You'll come to it regardless.
Yes. So for that, chat, if you're already here and hearing about the Stranger Things and you guys want to have questions, put the questions down below. I will have them ready and saved because that will be our last segment of the show. So don't worry. Questions will be answered. Questions will be shown 100%. But if you guys want to see what else and who we are, let me welcome the panelists. Like I said, Walker's the world champion is here. Introduce yourself.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and ignorant children of the Isles, what is up and what is good? It is your reigning, defending, undisputed, universal heavyweight champion of the world. That's right. It's Watkins right here. I'm going to be your guide through the upside down and through all the bullshit that came with season 5. Some of it good, some of it bad, but we'll get through it. We'll wade through it, and it's going to be a fun time. At least I'm going to have a fun time. We'll see about the rest of our panelists here, but yeah, I'm just happy to be here, happy to talk about a fun show. I really like Stranger Things, so I had fun with this season, and I can't wait to talk about it with some cool friends of mine.
Yes, and I'm here. I'm glad to have him here with me because Drop This Box is the one that introduced me to the show 3 years ago. By the time season 4 was out, I believe or not, but your boy got a slack and he just got distracted. But hey, glad that 3 years later I came and turned around and I enjoyed the show. We've been talking about it nonstop for the past 5 months. Drop This Box.
Hey guys, as you know, you probably seen me on social media as of recent when it comes to a lot of the discussion surrounding Stranger Things Season 5. You guys probably saw me on another little show that's a part of us called Weebs of the Ring, where we discuss all the things related to professional wrestling. But yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun today. We're going to be talking about Volume 1 of Stranger Things Season 5. We'll see where the conversation goes because obviously we all shared our own thoughts on it, and it's going to be a pretty fun discussion to see where things go with all 4 of us here today.
And who's the 4th person? It is our guest that has been on, I don't think Anime Lady podcast, but he has been on Off the Bench podcast for sure, and he might be on for Weekly Lounge this month with maybe any of our top 2025 stuff of this year. Who knows? But welcome in Blade Ninja, because he told us you guys better have me on. If I'm not on this show, I'll be very sad in the corner.
Yeah, I would have cried my heart in the corner. You guys would have saw me. I would have made a TikTok video, and I would be like, how could you guys not have me? What's up, guys? Blade Ninja or Aaron, simply. Yeah, I told them I needed to be here because I have much to say about Stranger Things. I've been a fan since it first came out. I kept with it. I kept with all this, extra BS that was happening with, the issues of, COVID making the production kind of halt, and all this other stuff. So, I mean, I give the Duffer Brothers so much credit in many ways.
Agreed.
Because the series is great. Oh, and by the way, my favorite character is Steve. Forever Steve. He is the coolest dude. Steve Harrington, 100%.
That's a good shout. Also, we did have a 5th member that was going to be on the show with us. Who was it, Blade?
Neko-chan. It was Neko-chan, but she's been transported to the Upside Down. But no worries, she has her Steve Harrington shirt, which is going to be protecting her. And Steve, Dustin, and Murray, our favorite characters, are there. And 11 and Eric. Everyone's going to be there. Don't worry about it. Never mind. They're there somewhere.
But
don't ask questions.
Like Blade said, he we wanted to give you guys a quick intro of what are our favorite characters. So as well, chat, let us know who are your favorite characters from season 1 through 5 or this season. If you have any that has gotten better, I'm gonna just go first. Like I said it on my tweet, like I said it on episode 201 of Weaves Lounge, I'm gonna say my top 5. I love Eddie, even if he was there for one season, and I know people was upset that, hey, Eddie could come back alive. I'm like, bro, well, what body? How can he come back alive when he got eaten by 100 bats? Who knows? But I love Joyce, I love Hopper, I love Steve, and I love 11. Those are my top 5 characters. So I'm going to pass it to Watkins. Tell me what's your number 1 top 5 if you have one.
I mean, like I said in that episode of Weaves Lounge, it's Hopper for me. I always gravitate towards like that failed mentor kind of character, and Hop checks all those boxes for me. Steve is also one of my favorites too, so it's always a contention between him and Hop for my top spot, but it usually is Hop for me. And I do have a couple gripes with Hop, mainly just one big one from this season. Come on, buddy.
I know where you're going with that.
Come on, buddy.
I'm gonna say,
we'll talk about that.
I'm just happy in that one scene. This man was hella confused when he was walking away with 11. I'm like, bro, I feel bad for you. He was so confused. Like, how did things go upside down, pun intended, with the 2 hours I've been here? But, Drop, the guy that put me on this show, tell us your top 3. Is it Steve Harrington?
I feel like I'm going to keep it simple, and I'll say that Steve Harrington is my favorite character. I think I made that pretty obvious when it comes to the kinds of conversations that we've been having with each other. I also really like Dustin, and I also like Hopper as well. So if you want a top 3, I mean, hey, there you go right there. But Steve is definitely the character that I lean towards the most, because I just really like his character growth throughout the season, because you just see how he grows from season 1 all the way up until now. Yeah. And like I said, we will be getting into some discussion surrounding him that has been talked about on social media that should be obvious based on what you're seeing. But unfortunately, with some people new to this world that's been born for at least maybe a minute or two, they don't understand certain things. But we're here to break it down for you.
Exactly. So with that being said, chat, like I've said it numerous times, write down your favorite characters, write down your questions, because if you have not seen, full spoiler warning right now, if you have not seen season 5, volume 1, not season 1, volume 1 of the first 4 episodes of Stranger Things, please come back later, tune in, or check out our short form content, our content on the main channel. See those if you haven't yet, but if you have, stay tuned, because we're going to get into some juicy conversation. So with all that politeness of spoilers and conversation, let's get
toxic.
Stupid. Let's my clothes off. Oh, threw them away. There we go.
I want to get toxic.
If you want to get toxic like our girl Karen did in the episode Wheeler, in the first episode, because she got intoxicated, but she still went out swinging as a good mom. Right, Walkers? Thank you for the transition, right? Hey, I made it work.
Oh, yeah.
I made it work. But hey,
she had that mother strength. She had that mother strength against that Demogorgon.
I love the way they did that.
Thank you. Agreed. But let's talk about it. The new Status Quo of Hawkins. Like Blade brought up earlier, Stranger Things was filming during the earlier parts of the pandemic back in 2022, 2023, I believe is when they started filming. And and then during now 2025, they've been having the promotion campaign. The volume 1 came out Thanksgiving. We have a time skip of, I think, 8 months or a year has been since season 4 and 5.
No, it's been
18
months.
18 months.
It's been 18 months that they already have 30 trips into the void, into the upside down. I forgot what they call it. Top of my head.
This one was the 31. This was
the crawl. Thank you. The first crawl. Yeah. So it's been 30 crawls in that aspect. But I want to ask you guys, how did you feel just jumping back into it? I'm asking more to y'all 3, since I don't have much of experience of this, since I just did my full binge since August to now, so I don't have much of a conversation this. I would like to hear you guys, since you've been on this journey since probably 2016 to 2019. How do you feel about from season 4 to season 5, just getting back into a Blade?
All right, so I guess I can start off with this. So one of the things with a show that runs this long, and I think it's any show that runs more than a few years, is it's very hard to keep consistency going on. You know, it's time change, characters change, ages change for people, you know, their situations, life change, etc. So that alters everything. And people don't realize And I mean, Vash probably understands this because he films with a lot of stuff behind the scenes. But things change dramatically. I give credit that the show has remained consistent. What I love, and I think they did a great job of this, I'm gonna say this right now, is by having them quarantine Hawkins, right? Like that's the main thing of the new season. It's quarantine off the face of the world from everything else. It allows them to kind of avoid issues with production time, because obviously people have aged, people have moved on with certain things, but Hawkins is like trapped in time. They still have stuff they're showing from, like, for example, the Doritos bag you see several times come up through the show. Food bags in general, foods, like the rations they have, certain characters, they don't look like they've aged correctly. It looks like something's off with everything. Like I guarantee the rest of the world should be already moving past these designs, moving past these concepts, and yet Hawkins is trapped in time, which almost is funny, like almost a polar to the Upside Down, because the Upside Down is also trapped in a different time period too. So I think they did a great job with that. I really do, and I think that lets you transition. Ironically, because they did that with the show, it lets you transition. If you watch the show from the beginning, like when it first came out, like I did, and the rest of you guys did, you can go right into it and be like, okay, this is not too jarring. You just go right back into the situation, the atmosphere of everything.
That's a good perspective on that, because I work in production. I've seen shows have like for example, some shows that do have the benefits, like Grey's Anatomy or other shows that are health shows. They could use the COVID or the pandemic into the storyline and they make it work. Right. But when you have a show that's like in the 80s and they can't really shoot that or film that, they have to do the workaround. So I do agree with that. Drop, I would like to pass it on to you, because you've been on this journey with certain things. You put your friends onto it. How did you feel about just getting back into that world from season 4, from back 2023 of its release to now to 25, coming back full circle? And you also binge the series with me, so you also have everything as a new recollection of the memories.
Yeah, so when it comes to that, it was definitely a journey, I will say that. And it felt the same way when I was getting into season 3 of Stranger Things, because I caught up around the time when I first heard about the series, when season 2 was only out, and then my journey officially began with season 3 and everything like that. But just looking at how we waited a couple years for this season, which to me, I honestly don't really mind. It doesn't bother me, because that just gives me the opportunity to check out other stuff that I'm into. So if it takes a little bit, that's fine. I just want them to do the best that they possibly can to give us a good show. So, I mean, that's just how it is. It's the same thing with movies and stuff. You don't expect like this action-packed movie to be out the following year unless it's like a side-by-side project that they're doing when it comes to how certain films do it, like Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame, because they were filmed around the same time.
Right.
But when I look at it like this, it's definitely something, because I guess one of the things I really do like looking back at season 4 and then looking at where we are now is you could definitely tell like the quality change when it comes to the levels that they're willing to reach, when it comes to like, if you just look at how certain scenes are placed, like the environments, it just looks like so lively. And I feel like that's one of the things I really like about it, is that they always try to challenge themselves of each season so they can stand out in some way and they can do these different things. Like, I think one of the things I really liked the most that they did that was different was looking at things from the Demogorgon's perspective when it comes to that whole vision scope thing.
Agree.
I thought that was pretty cool, because you don't really see that often, and it makes sense since there's been a lot of mystery surrounding that. You would think that probably would have showed up maybe a season or 2 ago, but I just like how we see from that perspective, because not only is that said person, which we'll obviously talk about him later, can see that, but it also allows us to see that ourselves. So we're seeing all of this going on from like a different, I can't really say person, a different monster's perspective. So it's just really cool just to see how things change and how things evolve. I feel like that's one of the best things you really have when you follow a series, like for many, many years, is just seeing like how it was in the early stages and then looking at where it is now. Because this series, it makes a lot of money. A lot of people love it.
That
I
is
mean,
true.
I
The
just
merch
booked
is crazy.
myself.
Yo, that is
Crazy.
Yeah,
I just
true.
booked myself to see the series finale at the movie theater, and there's literally no seats left. So just judging on, hey,
Sorry
we're
we
going to
did
be
that.
in the
That's such a cool
theaters and there's nobody left there to find a seat, that just shows you like how many people like
They want to
care about
experience
the
like the
series.
movie theater
Yeah.
experience. Like that's not something
Yeah.
that many shows could do, and
No.
only much could like had that gravitation. Where with Netflix, they did that with K-pop Demon Hunters. They say, "Damn, people want to watch that in theaters when we give in streaming. Okay, let's try to do that with Stranger Things, the season 5, volume 3, and look how great that's doing." At the moment, on my end, I want to go to theater. Most likely, I'm going by myself since wifey don't watch the show.
Yeah, I'm
But
going
who
by
knows?
myself, too.
I probably hit up Blade, be like, "Yo, want to do a little probably New York meetup and watch a movie in the theater?" Who knows?
I'll be down. Shit, let's go, dude.
Yeah, because the way I look at it as well, it's like, sure, you can still watch it at home, but hey, I mean, you never know if you're going to have a different experience if you watch it at the movie theater either. And I know it's probably going to be a series I'm going to watch more than once. So even, let's say, hypothetically, I do watch it that day, even though I'm kind of speculating, maybe I'll try to avoid social media that night because I'm watching my favorite series end. And I kind of feel like maybe I can separate myself from Netflix for one night and just wait the following day. Because it is a different experience because you're with a lot of people. And some people might not like being around a lot of people in the movie theater. I actually like it. I
Yeah,
actually really like having
I think with
a
certain
swarm
things
of
it works
people.
really good. I
Yeah.
think like stuff like the fan bases. If you're at a movie theater
Yeah.
with like a bunch of people that actually like
Yeah.
something, it
Especially
gives
with
a whole different
anime
energy.
stuff.
um,
Especially with
Oh,
anime.
yeah.
I know since we're on about the movie theater experience and we're talking about like the volume, I also want to mention since I did have that at the end, but since we're already here in this conversation, that the finale in the movie theater has already been exposed to be said 2 hours and 5 minutes, and right now it's the second longest episode of the series. So that is 2 hours and 5 minutes that I would be watching on Netflix, but I will probably go to theater as well and watch it because I love to experience in theater just the full surround sound, the whole who's dying, who's killing, who's surviving, those type of stuff. So I would love to experience that and just see it in a big screen because it just gives you that extra type of surround sound and everything. But I know we've been chatting a lot, but
Surround
I also want to
sound.
hear Watkins' journey as well.
So I've been with this show since the beginning. I kind of needed something since because I think around that time or like a little bit before then, a show known as Orange is the New Black ended on Netflix,
Oh, I remember.
which was also yeah, that was also one of
A long time,
Netflix's
bro.
big shows that
A long time.
nobody talks about anymore, which very interesting, but that's besides the point.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's
no.
good.
So I've been with this since the beginning. So like seeing these kids grow up with each season has kind of warmed my icy heart, if you will. I will say it's been very drastic between like season 4 and season 5 for me because like there's a point I actually messaged Drop. I was just like, hey, how much time passed between 4 and 5? And so he told me, the 18 months, and I'm just like, okay, now I can kind of start putting the pieces together because like one thing I try to do with big things like this, I try not to watch the trailers when they come out, and I try
I
not
get
to
you.
be part of that discussion
I get
because
you.
I'm like, I don't want it because one thing trailers like to do is spoil everything.
Yeah,
And they did.
And when I
Yes.
went back to the
Especially
trailer,
nowadays.
oh my god, yes. But like when I went back to the trailer for this, I'm like, okay, there's a lot from this part alone that they
Yeah.
showed in that trailer.
which I was
Like
happy about.
there's maybe there was
One-
like maybe a couple things that wasn't on there.
Yeah, the funny thing about that is I actually recall seeing a post on X actually pop up,
Mhm.
and it actually said that whatever you saw in that trailer, and I expect us to get one from like volume 2 and 3, even though they really don't need to.
Yeah. They
don't.
If it was up, but they
Please
did
don't.
say that what you saw in that trailer itself, it's literally like scenes throughout like episode 1 to 8. So
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure if you look back at it and you pinpoint certain things, you could probably look at it and be like, well, that scene looks pretty wild. I expect that to be in the
Yeah.
last episode or whatever. But that's how I was. If I would make like a comparison, that's kind of like how I was with Wicked, because I loved the first movie, but I never
Mhm.
really touched anything with like the second trailer because I know they were making it to 2 parts. So I just avoided it completely. And when I went into the movie theater and watched it, I just had like a different experience with it because I didn't see all these different things thrown in there. And I get why they do it because it sparks conversation. You have people like me making videos, or people like Aaron or Vash or Watkins. They see a certain thing, they want to make a video or make a post just giving their thoughts on it
Yeah,
because
you
it's
hype it
something
up.
that catches
It's
their
free
eye. So like,
advertising.
so it's like I get
Exactly.
why they do it, but at the same time, it's like If
Don't
you
show it.
ever want to choose to not watch it and just wait for it to come out, then that's perfectly fine too. Because
Yeah.
sometimes going in blind is honestly the best experience.
Yeah.
A lot of the
So
old
that
trailers used to. Oh, I'm sorry.
oh no, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say a lot of the old trailers in the olden days, not to harp on this too much, used to be where it would not spoil so much of the show, like
Yeah.
or the movie or whatever it was.
Yeah.
It would show you like scenes so disjointed that it would hype you up. You'd be like, "Oh wow, this looks really interesting." You know, I want to see what this is about. I want to see what that's about. Nowadays, though, they take giant chunks of parts. There's
Mhm.
several scenes because I did see the Stranger Things, the volume 1 trailer for it, and there are scenes that are directly from the episode 4. They're the finale, and I'm like,
Yep.
"What the? You just spoiled the
Why
whole
are we doing
fucking
this?
ending
Yeah.
in one shot? Like what? Okay,
Yeah.
so."
Yeah.
That's why I agree with you 100%, kid, with that, because like I don't blame people for avoiding spoilers or avoiding trailers, but they know what they're doing because they know that people like everyone else are gonna hype the crap out of it through, and that's free. No, we don't have to pay any money for that.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
free advertisement and free marketing. That's word of mouth.
Mhm.
That's almost easiest to do. And on top of that, that with the show, people will do TikToks, people will review, people will write a whole essay on Twitter and articles about it. So that's a beautiful thing because just to bring it all back together, the reason I asked this for you guys is because, like myself, we did our episode 201 of Weeb's Lounge of talking about season 1 through 4, but we also spoke about our theories of what we want for the season 5 to come out with and what the characters will execute. One of my things that I spoke about is something that happened in the very first episode of the Status Quo of Hawkins. The parents are more involved. Everyone is living under the Wheeler's house. Like by almost everyone, is literally like except 2 of the cast members, which is 11 and Hoppers, was because they're in hiding from the government. But everyone was living in the Wheeler's house, but in hiding. But with everyone to actually be involved and actually having the parents being involved and actually having Holly being involved with what's going on with the story, and that's something I didn't expect for Holly to actually be a main key point. But seeing a few of the tweets I saw over the weekend, some things made more sense of why she got chosen, or did she get chosen since the beginning, and that's something that I started to put together. I'm like, I see the full picture. But on top of that, my question to you guys, how do we also feel about Holly being recast as well? Because from season 1 through 4, it's been having the same actress, but then season 5, they change her up because they want to add a couple more years on her or etc. to have her do the role. So I want to ask you guys, how did you feel of the parents, everything being introduced in the first episode of the 18 months being transitioned, that they already been dealing with the bullshit, and then until we started the show, nothing bad has happened yet?
So this is kind of like what I was getting at as I was, talking about my experiences with Stranger Things. Before, we got on the topic of like the trailers and all that.
Yeah.
Like everything felt so jarring because like you have, and I could tell this too. A lot of the guys you could tell had to be almost freshly shaven every single day because you could still see the shadow just on their faces.
Shadows, dude. Yep.
Oh yes, I
You're
remember
just like,
seeing that. I
"Oh,
noticed
God."
that.
Yeah.
He's not wrong,
So like
dude.
there's that, and then this kind of gets into like just little like nitpicks I have from the season. And I know there's only so much they can get away with and do and all that. The kids that are like in Holly, because Holly's supposed to be in elementary school, right?
Yeah, allegedly, yes.
Yeah, allegedly. Yeah, the
Like
huge
maybe
allegedly.
like the
but-
last year of elementary school where you played like that, but even then,
Yeah, but yeah, it just felt like they were like, it felt like they were dressed as if they were doing a stage play of Stranger Things, which again, not a huge knock or anything, and it's really just a nitpick, but it was one thing that like kind of sat in the back of my mind. I'm just like, okay, you look like you're playing like a Peanuts character right now on Stranger Things, which okay, fine, cool, whatever. But I think the actress herself, yeah, upside down. Anyways, so I think the actress for Holly is doing a good job. I'm not sure why she was changed. So, when we get further into this discussion, somebody answer that question for me, that'd be great. But I think with the change, I think it was, at least for the outsider not looking at some of this stuff, I thought it was good. I thought like she definitely needed that upgrade because I don't think the actress before her could really pull off what they're trying to do here in season 5.
That was
And I
my
think
guess.
This actress here, is a little bit more confident in her abilities to really pull off what the Duffer Brothers are trying to do with Holly's story, and especially her being the supposed hero, I guess. So I don't know if this is going to lead to her being the person who saves everybody, or like is the ultimate key to defeating Vecna or anything, which it could go down that route and all that. But like,
I hope they don't do that, but
yeah, but we'll see when that happens, when we get to the finale and all that. But like, I don't know.
I would like
I'm
to
fine
add,
with it too.
Watkins, that Ralph in the comments saying that she is 9 or 10 now, but she looks a lot bigger than what she's supposed to be playing a 9, 10-year-old. She looks like a 12, 13-year-old almost, like probably even 11 or 12, I would say, not even 13. But I do get the critique where it's coming from in that. On top of that, with the recast, how do we feel about the introduction of the whole military taking control of the town and having end zones in where you cannot leave town, and somehow in 18 months Hopper and 11 has not been found in this small ass town? It's also very shocking of how much or how good they're hiding, how good they haven't found a house in the woods.
No, I'm not talking about hiding, but who wants to take this? Because I'm gonna rant about it. So
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'll shed some light to that, because I mean, with the whole thing of Hopper and 11 doing their thing, I'm not really surprised, because Hopper has experience in that field. He's made that pretty apparent a lot of times whenever he comes across various people in the series. So it's like, I'm not really all that surprised that he's able to find his way around things, if I'm being 100% honest, because that's very Hopper to be in situations like that. But it's like, I get the whole thing that they're leaning towards when it comes to how they're viewing things, because the whole reason why this is a thing to begin with, and it's kind of obvious, like it's not like a secret or anything. They painted this picture themselves to believe that 11 is the bad guy causing all of these issues, when, I mean, if they haven't found out already, seeing all these Demogorgons invade Hawkins and seeing Vecna show up and do this and that, and then her actually trying to help solve all these issues, I mean, that's just on them at that point. But it's basically them making up a story in their head and going after 11 and all that stuff. So it's like, I can understand why people aren't really big fans of that, and I would probably have to say the same thing. Like, I don't really care about it as much. I get why it's there because of what they painted, but I can't say that I'm like the biggest fan of it. Like, when it comes to things that I look forward to when I watch the seasons, and I kind of felt this way as well when I was watching season 3, and I love season 3. Season 3 is a good season. And obviously, you know, I got a good kick out of seeing Steve kick a Russian guy's ass. But those are like the stuff that kind of like pushes me away a little bit. Not saying it takes away points or anything like that, but I rather focus on, okay, how is Steve growing? What was Dustin doing? Is Jonathan going to be more annoying than he usually is? Like, what's going on with them? I rather just move past this and stuff like that. Like, honestly, that's like the best way I can really structure. Like, I don't really have much words right now. I'm trying to figure out as much as I possibly can say about this. So I'll just give it to you guys, really, because like, I don't know.
Piggyback.
It's there. Yeah, we'll piggyback off each other just like 11 did with a fridge.
Look, right before I pass it to you,
sorry.
Watkins. Blade, I just want to mention that I understand what Ralph said in the comments, that an apocalypse was supposed to happen by the end of season 4. Yes, season 5, 18 months later, we haven't had the apocalypse happen. The reason that I'm okay why the apocalypse haven't happened yet is because Max was supposed to die, and then the apocalypse was meant to happen once the 4 gates was open. But since she was still alive consciously, even though she's trapped in the Upside Down, in my eyes, the gate wasn't fully open, just crack open enough to just not start it, but just to tease it enough, like, hey, I need to finish and get other 8 more gates now, like we saw in the picture or in the graph that we saw of the wormhole, which I can't wait for us to talk about that theory. I believe that he needs to have a new process to open the full gates or open a full portal. That's just my canon logic until we get more confirmation in the next batches of how the Upside Down works. That's my logic. But now that I said my logic, Blade, talk to us, rant to us.
I'm gonna let Hawkins like take the end of this because if I'm gonna rant first, this way I feel like he'll calm this down a little bit because I'm really gonna rant about the military stuff.
Copy.
That's
Talk.
First off, the military. Do any of those people actually look like military to you? Does a single person in the so-called military that's in Hawkins look military? Because I feel like that was my biggest gripe constantly. No, I know it's the 80s, but it still does. These characters don't look like they're soldiers. They don't even act like they're soldiers half the time. It just it irks me. But that's beside the point.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that they're supposed to be like kind of, I want to say a military taken away to focus on this stuff with like 11, to focus on the upside down, etc. I kind of get that. That's why they don't look like regular military, because I feel like they're not the main military, and I feel like that also plays into why they're there specifically. But my biggest gripe with the military there is that they're probably the dumbest people I've ever seen in my life. Okay, let's be real. They haven't found anything. Okay, they barely able to find. I'm surprised they found the upside down. That amazes me, because they can't find a kid using her powers in the open fields practicing several times a day. Okay,
and the helicopter goes around too. How small town that is, the helicopter goes around.
It's quarantined enough that they could. I'm pretty sure they could be like, hey, listen, we have a helicopter fly over. Oh shit, there they are. We see the girl shooting her powers. You can't find this girl. Like that's that impossible. Okay, that's my. I'm sorry. That's my biggest thing with that. But I feel like they're just there. Like the military can't. Like I think one of them said in the comments. I want to say one of them said it was a rat who said they're not even able to really do anything to the Demogorgons, and they can't. You can use fire to kind of push them back slightly, but that's it. We've seen guns don't do shit to Demogorgons. It takes like a massive amount of bullets to kill them or even hurt them.
Yeah.
They don't do anything.
They need to drink more wine.
My canon understanding of the military for this show is that they have no communication and they are about hierarchy. Because remember how there's always this covert laboratory, this covert the military departments. Remember how the lab wasn't known to actually do tests and experiments on kids and have superpowers. So that's what
it's not supposed to be for that. Yeah.
So that's what the military police, the MPs, from my understanding from the government history, is that and at the time in the 80s, anybody could join. Were they actually good in the force? No, but anybody could join, get a job, and did they suck at it? Yes. That's why in the season finale, we had like a good 20 of them, a good 50 of them die. I feel bad for Erica because she was at the tower just watching all this happen, and she couldn't do shit. That's the thing. I was there laughing the whole time. Everyone getting shot, killed.
She don't care.
But that's why I think for the military police in the 80s, I didn't think of them as much. And even showing from season 4 how they sorry for the black dude, the commander, he was the most clueless.
Commander.
The lieutenant, the commander, the general, he was the most clueless ass motherfucker out there. Yes. Out of the military, what they have found out from my perspective is that they know fire hurts them. They know heat hurts them. Cool. They capture number 8, and that's all. And they have doors and cars and a helicopter able to work in the upside down. That's all they got so far, and they still don't know how to kill the upside down. And they still think 11 is the bad guy, not knowing that Vecna is the big bad.
No, it's like I get it, but it's just I feel like not because again I'm gonna keep going for this all day because I feel like I could go on this all day. It's just that given that this is supposed to be such a big project, this is supposed to be a thing that they now I guarantee the world now to some degree knows that this is a big thing, because you can't hide a whole town being quarantined. That's like
the
way they do it is really the way they do it. It's not like it's okay. This small town is not known. They don't I would feel like they would get better military people, not just like, oh, hey, look, this guy joined. He has no military training. He's good though. We promise. I think he can hold a gun. I think so.
Yeah,
and, he's good. He's good. Don't worry. He can do it. Oh shit, no, he can do it. That irks me. So that's my biggest takeaway is that the military in Hawkins, for such a big project that's supposed to be so secretive and so important, is completely and utterly incapable. I'm sorry. That's it. Can't talk about it anymore because I'll rant about it for 5 hours.
Understandable. The army sucks in this show, and hopefully in the next batches they can actually team up and then say, hey, we just lost a good 50 soldiers. Seems like you guys know what's going on, and you have a superpower guy. Maybe that's connecting to number 1. But with that
Iron
being
Man.
said,
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
well,
I mean, hey, they could just easily be good with their T16s back at home. With their
exactly.
romp rats.
I would rather them not do anything at all, because they obviously attempted to do what they did towards the end of episode 4. I mean, what did that really do to help? So they should look at that as a
Absolutely
learning experience and actually not bother with it. Because if you
And
have
that's
somebody
why-
like
Mhm.
if you have somebody like this taking out a Russian soldier, and this is from an entirely different season, then those military people are not worth shit.
Exactly.
No. And I'm hoping episode 4 just is the end with the military for a bit.
Yeah.
So that way it could just be like, okay, let's focus on the party trying to figure things out now, because
just
the
get
military,
out
you
there.
guys are just getting in the way right now. Just
Yeah.
go away.
With that
Like-
transition, with that you guys said about the party, I'm gonna use this transition to talk about our character arcs and major revelations that we already had so far. So let's go with the first one, the big elephant in the room. Like we kept talking about episode 4, the army, the survival of Vecna having Will, like the picture behind me,
I just think
literally
it's
in front, and Will finally having powers. Will, like Drop mentioned earlier, one of the cool aesthetics things we saw, that Will was seeing through the eyes of the Demogorgon. He's like, am I seeing eyes through the victim,
Yeah.
or am I seeing eyes through who?
Mhm.
And one of the person that kept helping him in this journey was Robin. Robin was helping him to understand just who he is, but also Mike understand like, hey, you're not the person that's being controlled. You also could be a mage. And Will said, but that's in D&D. He's like, yes, but if we've been using D&D as a reference for the past 5 years, or past 5 seasons, we could also use this as a real word. You could be a sorcerer, just like controlling the power of the connection you have with him. And that's what we got to. Will finally having powers and controlling it at the end, doing not just 1, not just 2, but killing 3 Demogorgon at once, much better and faster than what 11 has done.
He maxed them.
And I'm
He
just
maxed
saying that
Mhm.
because people already has been comparing and power scaling. Oh, is Will stronger than 11 because he killed 3 at once? That's a whole different conversation we could have. But I want to pass it to you guys. How did you feel about Will finally having powers, and to the fandom? Yes, I'm calling them out, to the fandom, saying this is confirmation for the Bilers because of how Mike and Will lock in eyes at the end.
Kid's like, I'm no. fuck that.
Drop's like, nah, I don't want to deal with this right now. Oh my god. Oh man. I
I'm gonna
mean,
keep going at it every day.
yeah. I mean, I know there's an argument that people have been making, like, oh, Will doesn't actually have powers. He's just tapping into the hive mind. It's just like, yeah, I see the argument with that, but like, in a way, that's kind of his power, is tapping into the hive mind. So it's like,
Yeah.
that's just pulling at straws.
They're
But like,
basically answering their own question.
exactly. But like, I feel like this is something we've kind of been calling since what, season 2, since he got taken over. I want to say around the season 2 time. So it's just like to see it finally like happen.
Yeah.
Awesome. First of all, awesome moment. Like I popped hard for it because I'm like, okay, this has got to be the moment where he gets like that power right there. And lo and behold, I'm just like, okay, how the hell are they going to get out of this? Lucas, you're screwed. What's her name? Robin, you're screwed. Mike, you're about to be screwed. How are we getting out of this? Yeah, conveniently. But yeah, it was just great. I thought the moment was great. I'm intrigued how it's going to go forward and how it's really going to help them. Because one thing I noticed too, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, there was a line from the trailer. It was the moment that, is right behind Vash where, Vecna brings Will in. There was a line from him saying like, oh, I'm basically saying I'm not done with you yet, Will, or like you're still like important to me.
Yeah,
he
you're the last
say
piece.
that.
He didn't say that. He didn't say that in the actual episode.
Oh, it's because trailers are taking the lines from a different episode, most likely.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what I'm getting at. It's just like, okay, well, what's going to be that little missing piece right there? Like, what are you going to have to do now, Will, to really like to complete Vecna's plan and all that. So yeah, I'm just happy with that. I'll just pass off the the Baylor stuff to somebody who I know will go after you guys for it, because oh boy.
Yeah, it's either that or anything Steve Harrington related.
You got any thoughts about this as well?
No.
So okay, I'm gonna say this right now. This is something I did in a review for this.
Yeah.
Nothing in this season surprised me. Not a single thing. Probably the only part that was surprising, and we'll get more into it later, is what was behind the door, which I'll save that for when we get there.
Oh, that's
Mm.
next.
That they opened. Right. That was the
Oh, yeah.
only thing that surprised me. Will having powers did not surprise me at all. I mean, it opens up with him getting something that looked like an egg being put in. He almost got like xenomorphed, where he had the egg put
Yeah.
inside of his mouth, or whatever that was inside of his mouth. And the thing is that Will has already shown that he's had powers. Like, I mean, I
Yeah.
think it's always because of what happened. That's why they have to show that so, I want to say, prominently in the beginning of the season, is they show that Will was taken by Vecna at one point, and Vecna put something inside of him, and that now automatically gives him powers, it seems like, to our connection of some sort. Maybe something's growing inside of him, for all we know. I mean, that's a possibility. Maybe that is something that like can resonate with him, or the mind flare, if we think about all that stuff. There's a lot of, we don't know enough of that yet, so I'm not going to try to make too many theories about it, but it didn't surprise me. I was not surprised by that. I wasn't surprised even when they showed the scene that Vecna caught him at one point in the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
What I think is cool about it, though, is that this could be what really, not only just because it did change his character in many ways. It took Will, who's kind of been always a background character, if you think about it, for the rest of the season so far. He's always been someone that has been there, but what has he actually done for the team? Aside from having a few moments, he's like, "Oh, I feel something, guys. Something's here. I feel something." I never feel like he's done anything beyond the first season. And now he's finally showing, hey, listen, I have a power that's probably not going to help as much as people think it is, because I feel like he is going to be an issue later on because he's still connected to Vecna.
Agreed.
So unless Vecna uses him in a certain way, maybe things will change. Maybe he can break himself off from that. Possible. There's a lot of uncertainty with that. But it was cool. I still love that scene. I really do. I thought that scene was great, where he just channeled all of his inner freaking power and literally made them all just snap arms and legs like nothing. Like that was so cool. The visuals on that were really cool too.
I thought he was going to use his foot at one point. Like he had put like both of his arms out.
Yeah.
And then before he did his head, I'm just like, okay, is he going to like stick his foot out like in a perfect like pointer foot? Like, oh yeah.
I thought he was gonna do like a Michael Jackson and do the pelvis. Like,
He went this like.
Oh.
No,
But-
but I mean, it was cool. It was cool. I liked it.
Mhm.
I think though, really, that is going to make or break for the seasons. Though him having powers now, it's going to be what changes a lot, and in a good way or a bad way for his character.
I do agree with the comment here from Ralph. He said that first season he wasn't even a character, but Will always kind of been losing it. So it's good to see how come into his own character in the last couple of seasons.
Right, exactly.
And I do agree with that. That's something I was telling Drop earlier or over the past couple of weeks, that the great thing that I enjoy about Stranger Things is that you have a cast that anybody could be considered a main character in any of the seasons. That anybody don't be considered a side character, because everyone has their own plot. And what I always tell people is that that's when you could tell it's a great show being written and being directed and a good cast, is because you could see your own self. You have a group of friends. Are you all the time with that same group of friends every day? No. Sometimes you're there with some weeks. But are they a side character? No. You just haven't seen them. But then when you see them, they're still the main character of your story of that day, of that week, of that month, whatever it may be. And that's what I like about Stranger Things, is that Will was not important like it was in season 1, because he was, out of the 8 episodes we got, he was kind of lost for at least 6 or 5 episodes because he got taken upside down.
He's a plot device. He's a
plot device.
He's meant to,
but then
he's meant to be rescued.
Exactly. And I like how in this season everyone has grown. Even, for example, when Mike in that show, in that episode 4, when we saw Will having his powers, also I felt devastated seeing Mike, seeing Robin, and seeing Lucas trying to defend these kids. And like me right now, I'm having goosebumps just talking about, because I could imagine these 3 kids, more Lucas and Mike, going through this and seeing what they could have not done for Will all those years ago. That this is what these kids are going through, what Will went by himself. And the thing that I laugh about was when Vecna told Will, "You were so easy to break all those years ago." And I'm like, bro, you literally tormented him. How do you call him breaking? He's literally here willing to still fight against you. Like, in my head, I'm like, the one that is literally having the easiest, like the one that's having the easiest is technically Holly. She's cooking, and baking in your crib, Victor Creel. She's having a
Can we
great
not talk
time.
about that team, please? Can we not talk about the team?
Oh, we are in a moment. Don't worry, we are in a
I don't want
moment.
to,
We
bro.
we are momentarily. But in my head, when Vecna said that, and I'm like, bro, Vecna, you are being delusional. Yes, did you fuck him up when he was 10, 12 years old? Or well, technically, for some people, he is a 12-year-old that got lost. But then, if you look back in season 1, he was 11 years old. So who knows if that's like a writing error or a parental error? But just to see when Vecna said that, I'm like, nah. And I do agree with you, Blade, that I was not too shocked as well that Will has superpowers. I was expecting it because for him to actually come out up front and having these powers was obvious. If you have played any games or if you read any shonen or no hero material, when you're connected to the background, when you're connected to the source of the engine, you should have some tap. It's like a receiver, like Robin said. If he's connected to you, that means you just gotta focus or strong enough that you could connect it to them. And that's what kind of made sense when I first saw Will sit down or technically be up front of the Demogorgon at the farm. I'm like, okay, the Demogorgon is not attacking the mom, and the mom is joyful to literally say, "Stay back, stay back." I'm like, bro, any other Demogorgon would literally attack.
She would have like, get that thing out of my face. Like, come on, let's go.
Joyce just has conquerors hockey. Let's just be honest right here. Like,
look, I love the cannon filler in your head. That's amazing. I would take that any day. But just once I saw that, I'm like, okay,
okay, now, wow.
okay, Will, you are literally doing something, and I love how Mike helping establish that. But we already beat around the bush of the powers. Now let's get into the meat and gritty, like Drop said earlier, or left. The Byler stuff. I'm gonna be honest. I do not think it will happen. Understandable fandom. Yeah, I want it to happen. Yeah, I want the representation. But understand the chemistry and the pairing that for Robin to Will, Robin was helping Will to come to his own fruition, and is why Robin gave the Tammy reference for him to understand to move forward. And you do not need Mike as a lightning rod to help you to become your own self. You got to use your own self and become the future person you want to become. And that's what I saw as an understanding from that storytelling. It wasn't that, hey, confirmation that they're touching shoulders, they're glazing in their eyes. I'm like, guys, fandom, don't you guys have bromance with your own friends? We literally have Crash from the team telling us that you can't kiss your friends goodnight, little homies, that stuff like that happens, homies. But that's the jokes aside. When it comes to actual friendships, you can still care about your friend one another like a regular platonic friendship. You do not need, just because a bro and a bro, one is on the left side and just trying to build up the character, it throws that Mike is just a pushover when it comes to, hey, Mike's story is already with 11. That's his love story. He's not going to divert. Can things change in 5 episodes and the whole twist? We won't know until a good 30 days from now. But until then, I'm going by the establishment that it won't happen, and understand you guys, fandom, you want it to happen. You've been pushing for a set amount of years, but I do not see it. Drop, I know you also have some thoughts and you've been holding on to it, so talk to us.
Yeah. Rebuttal. Why is it the best thing ever, Drop?
Yeah, I don't think it's happening either, because one of my main issues with Stranger Things, or just basically series as a whole, is the way that people misinterpret things. Because it could be a very simple thing that they're laying out to you, and then for some reason, just out of the blue, we're looking at it with a completely different lens. Because the way that I saw that scene, which is why I made a video for the Anime W3 Studio main channel, and also why we're talking about it on here, is to pretty much break down like what that was. Like Vash said, it was pretty much Robin using her experience, like you saw when she had that conversation with Steve and she was open with him and she shared her story and she finally learned to become who she needed to be. She used that because she saw herself in Will, so she could push him to be who he became towards the end of that episode. And him and Mike are always going to be best friends. That's never going to change. If anything, they'll probably be closer than ever towards the end of the series, and that's awesome. I expect the same thing from another pairing that we'll talk about a little bit later that I also had issues with people online as well, misinterpreting that. But
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're
But when
talking
it-
about.
Yep. But when it comes to this, like it was a moment because Will hasn't really had as much focus. So it was nice for him to get that focus, to get that character growth, to help him improve as a person, because that's all that matters. Because you don't want to keep looking at the same person over and over and over and over again and expect them to look at you back. Like sometimes it's okay to move on. You'll still have that person in your life. You got to accept things the way it is, and then you can go from there. Maybe you'll find somebody else. Maybe you have a connection with them. Just realize that that one person that you're close to ever since you're a little kid, they're not going to leave your life. I'm not expecting Mike to leave his life. I'm expecting them, like I said, to be closer than ever once we get towards the end of the series, once we get these last 4 episodes. So I don't want to reiterate too much what Vash said because he basically took a lot of the words that I mouth. Just to end it off here, Tammy Thompson to Robin is what Steve was, and then what 11 is, and what 11 is basically is like the whole Mike situation. So it was a nice way that they structured that to put 2 characters that I was honestly waiting to see have some sort of interaction, because Robin got introduced to us in season 3. So I was waiting for them to get some sort of interaction. I'm happy that came, because with each season, I will say, ever since Robin got introduced, she's been very helpful when it comes to not only structuring how to get from point A to point B, but also just helping the people around her. I feel like when it comes to a lot of these new characters, and sometimes they introduce new characters and they take them away too fast, which I understand why they do it at times. But that's one character I can't say I'm happy that the Duffer Brothers kept in the story, because she adds a lot. And that's something I could really appreciate that she did for Will, for sure.
I agree with that. I agree with that 100%.
All right, so if we have no more words to say about our boy Matt, because don't worry, chat, we will bring that conversation back for the pairings after this, because it seems like we need to discussing the scene in the void where kids are being captured for Vecna, kids are being taken to the house of Victor Creel, and we have Holly, cooking and baking some cookies and having a good time, and getting ready. And we also have the confirmation at the end of the finale of episode 2 to episode 3 of Max Mayfield being alive. So I want to pass this to Blade, since you're the one that looks like the most heated, the most hot, that you want to vent. Talk to us of how did you feel about Holly being one of the first children being kidnapped from episode 1, being the story plot device of her being one of the first kids, and then other kids from the school, and why is it kids only? But then we also finding out Max is also still alive in the Upside Down and could have been saved if we only had a longer than a 45-minute loop of running up the hill.
So all right. So Holly, I feel okay. This kind of plays into all of what you guys have been saying about this. This is why I give a lot of credit to the Duffer Brothers when it comes to writing. I feel like Holly was a necessary component to being kidnapped first, because it pushes the main cast to act faster to where they gotta go. Because if you had anyone else, if you would have had it's escaping me, the kid that has the rainbow colored shirt that we'll talk about later. What's his name? The heavyset kid.
Not Billy. In my head,
there you go.
Yeah, well, I remember him as piece of shit because that's what Erica kept calling him.
Twinkie. I'm calling him Twinkie from now on.
No, that's not. But you guys know what I'm talking about. I know Chad knows what I'm talking about, because he's the one with glasses, and he's the second one per se to be targeted.
The one that everybody was like, why do you have a poster?
Right. If you would have got him first to be abducted, do you think anyone would do what they're doing right now?
No.
To get him back? No. You had to have Holly being the character that was abducted first. Like, that had to happen. Now, my thoughts on it was it's a good plot device. It's a good way of making the story go forward, that you need that. I have no issues with that. I have issues with other things with it, though. Holly, as a character, has not been a very strong character, because she's been a side character, obviously, of a greater majority of Stranger Things. She has very little time she's ever done anything in the show, besides kind of complaining here and there about stuff and, being just a young little girl and stuff. That's also why I get why they switched her character, in real life, why they made her actress different, because you needed that to have what the character they have doing the stuff she does in the Upside Down with Max when she meets her is not. I don't think it would be plausible with the other girl that they would have. Be honest with you, just realistically.
Right.
But my biggest thing was, okay, that's fine. I have no issues. I have issues with how she acts there because she acts like a complete idiot. And, from my understanding, she's not supposed to be a complete idiot, but she acts like one where she's baking in this guy's house. Like, first off, who just goes, oh, yeah, it's a stranger. It's fine. It's good. I'm going to go bake in his house and, go around, explore. And then, oh, he's in trouble. I got to go save him. Like, what?
Well,
no.
Remember, Victor Cruz did say, use my house as you please, use things you want to use. So, she got the open invitation to do what she wants.
If you get a stranger to tell you to do whatever they want in your house, you're going to be like, oh, okay, sure. You going to do that? I'm not doing that. I'm not going to go to a stranger's house. I don't know for the hell of me, especially as one is creep. Henry might look cool with his, his British attire that he's wearing in that.
Well, remember,
section.
We also got to recall that his new name for the season, What's It? He has been already playing the long game by conveying in their minds, by tricking them, saying that monsters are gonna come get it. I'm your savior. Remember, they're 10 years old. In their head, the imagination is a strong one. So what was executed is that, hey, let me show them that I'm their savior, I'm their god. They're the ones that will protect them. And he was telling Holly, don't worry, I will save your parents too. So it's diluting the children's mind. Danger. Yeah, still stranger danger. You're not wrong about that. But when you have a stranger danger lying to you so good and talking with a sweet voice and looking very British and looking very kind and taking you to a nice house and telling you, hey, you can cook whatever you want.
That's the thing. Because that's the thing. He laid like the foundation of a friendship with them already. So it's just like, okay, you can trust me, at first, it is stranger danger at first. But then it's just like, okay, we can conversate, we can talk. Hey, I'm cool, I'm chill, there's some monsters coming. Why don't you come back to my house? Now nowadays. See, exactly. But see, like nowadays, we would be like, no, I ain't going with you. But it's like, and I mean, not to be like, oh, it was the 80s, blah, blah, but like, it was kind of a different time then too, where it's like,
you have a point there, it was different time.
Yeah, they kids would be susceptible to that, I mean, they still are today, but they are a little smarter today. But I will say, yeah, it was kind of jarring where it's just like, oh yeah, monsters are coming. Don't ever go into the woods. Here's a bake set though, and here's a mixtape for you. It's just like, oh, she's just jamming to. She's not worried about like her family or anything, but it's fine.
No,
so I get like being taken aback by that because like she literally watched her mom get mauled.
Yeah,
horribly mauled, by the way. Horrible. You gotta add horribly mauled. Her whole neck's like ripped.
Look. I still give props to Karen. Karen gave. I still want to say, Karen. She even tipsy, even telling her daughter, "Nah, there's nobody here." Then she heard it like, "I cool. Let's go inside the water tub, get out, run away." And she, without questioning, "What are you, monster, demon, demogorgon?" Not even questioning what's going on. She said, "Yo, I'm intoxicated. I probably dislocated my shoulder because I fell by the kitchen island. Let me just still break this wine bottle, look like a badass, and literally stab him in the face or mouth, and then on the shoulder, pectoral major, let it go 1, 2, 3." And the Demogorgon was just standing like, "Ma'am, I'm gonna just stab you."
I know everyone's giving her a lot of praise for that. You also have to give the dad a little bit of praise. Like I feel like,
I'm happy. I'm happy because this dude been pissing me off. He said
he tried to fight. And,
I don't even know my own daughter's age. Playing golf here and just shooting the balls.
I don't like that dad.
Me either. I'm either. Look, I would not be mad if he dies. By the way, I would not be mad. I would not be mad.
He's not a good dad. This dude doesn't know his own daughter's age. He's like oblivious to everything.
Last season he voted to literally say, "Hey, I'm okay if the children goes to jail for one night. They should learn their lesson." I'm like, bro, you don't know the shit that your own kids are going through. They're going through Demogorgons upside down trying to survive, and you're saying, "Oh yeah, and night in prison will help them teach them a lesson." I'm like, sir, they're learning a lesson of survival.
I'm not saying like I said, I'm not saying he's a good dad. I'm not saying that by any means. I'm just saying I give him credit that he at least went and tried, his kind of best to fight this thing with a golf club and did absolute jack shit to it. What?
Yeah, no,
Oh,
I love it.
what?
Yeah.
Agree.
But the thing was,
A
like,
big shout out to the Wheeler parents. Let's just state that. Big shout out to the Wheeler parents. They
Yes,
they
did-
fought, they tried,
Yeah.
even though the dad is in a coma
They did
and
more-
nobody cared
more-
to
more
check
they
up
did
him in
more.
the hospital. They just care about the mom to
Yeah.
just write notes. Big shout out.
Yeah, I mean, but they said, I think they mentioned like the father was still in like unknown condition, and she was the only one that was kind of stabilized at one point.
Yeah.
But anyways, we'll go to that in a second. But then
Mhm.
Holly meeting Max in the upside down again. Not a surprise. Nothing about that surprised me. I figured she
Yeah.
was for some reason on the upside down. It did not surprise me even a little bit. And the fact that they try to make this like a big like, it's your legs. Oh my god, there's Max. Oh, there she is. It's like, oh, dude, it's obvious that's gonna be Max. Like,
It should have been obvious. I saw a few reactionaries that said, "Oh, I thought it was gonna be Eddie,"
It was
and I'm
gonna
like,
be Eddie.
and I'm
Yeah,
like,
no.
how?
He's dead.
How is
He's
he
dead. Listen,
surviving? Like, how? Why would he be here? If he had a body
Yes.
that was still in the real world, then maybe.
Right.
But he literally died by 100 bats getting eaten, and people was like, "But how did the Wheeler parents survive?" It's because they literally had a hospital right where they could have flashed them and maybe try to help them
Right.
survive.
It's not
Don't
that
mean
far-
that they're
yeah,
not
it's not that
alive.
far
They're damagedly
Yeah.
hurt. Maybe the chest don't work the same. Maybe she lost a whole boo. Maybe she can't even speak no more.
That's the whole boob
Well,
square.
hold on. No, yeah, no,
Wait,
no,
what? She
no,
lost
no,
her
no.
boob? Wait, what?
I don't know.
What?
Hey,
That was all in the larynx, man.
the
That was all
Demogorgon
in the
slash.
throat.
We don't know how those big slashes are. We don't know. I'm
Okay,
just doing
anyways.
assumption. But when
So-
Eddie, I'm like, yo, Eddie was not gonna come back. Max being the one, totally understandable.
It's
Yeah.
it's the same thing. Like, if not the completely different series and franchise and everything, but what was it, the Cyberpunk Edge Runners, the sequel that they're making, right? The creator said, listen, David's dead. Okay, stop talking about that. He's dead. He's not coming back. There's not going to be him coming back in the next scene. It's the same thing with Eddie. Like, I love Eddie to pieces. He was a great character for how short of time he was on screen. He was probably one of my top like 5, honestly, maybe top 3 to be honest with you. But
Yeah.
he's not there anymore. He's gone. He's dead. He's gone. He's buried. If he comes back at any point of the story, aside from flashbacks, I will have issues with that. Only because I feel like that would undermine his character dying. It would undermine the impact of it. It would undermine so many story elements of someone dying in that show. Because then it'd just be like Dragon Ball Z, where people just come back to life, conveniently. Oh, we wish them back. Yeah, he's back. Yeah, he's here to save the day. Like, no, we don't need that. But Max appearing in the upside down with Holly, that was, it's not that it was not good. It still was okay. I mean, it wasn't surprising, but it was good. It works. I just have a lot of issues with that, which I'll get into, I think, when we talk more about her character a little bit later, probably. But yeah, I mean, it was the whole scene with Holly and all that. It was okay. It works. It's just, I hate Holly.
Yeah.
The dancing stuff they try to do, like from the Tom Cruise movie, that one movie where he's dancing in his apartment, and she's making cakes, and that's enough for me. I'm not gonna keep pitching.
Understandable. The Holly
No,
stuff.
I feel you. So
The Holly stuff is interesting. I would say the Max thing, like we already had the nail on the head, that her being alive, not that shocking. But what I'm curious to see is that how is this going to tie up with Holly and Max connection? Because people have been throwing the comparison as well, that Max and Holly kind of looks like a bit of the comparison of Alice in the Wonderland, where Max is kind of playing the role of the Mad Hatter or the rabbit. I forgot the rabbit's name in the movie, but I saw this comparison of the way they was dressed, of Max being a bit with her dress or her attire, and Holly,
Red Riding Hood.
yeah, Red Riding Hood type of vibe,
Yeah.
with the stitches to the clothes and everything, and Holly being dressed with the blue dress of Alice in the Wonderland. So I see the relations and I see the comparison. I just don't see the full picture. But it's interesting that the cave is something that Vecna is scared about. That Vecna cannot even go inside the cave.
Cave ever, by the way. I'm sorry. That cave, special effects wise, and how they designed it, terrible looking. Sorry. Anyways, continue on. I'm sorry. I decided to talk about that.
I don't have too much thoughts on the
Dumb
special effects down the cave. It's
Dumb
just
cave. Dumb cave.
okay. I don't have much comparison to that, but I want to pass it to you, Drop. Then now you came back. What did you feel about the Holly stuff, Max being alive, and do you have any thoughts of their connection or where they might lead off to for the next 2 batches of Stranger Things?
Well, I do know that episode 6 is supposed to be focused on Max heavily, So we're probably going to be getting a lot of answers revolving around that because I believe the episode's called Escape from what was
Extract
it
or
called?
something like that. Cascade.
Oh yeah,
Something with C.
the place that they called it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Kamazats. Yes.
Escape.
yeah.
Yeah, so obviously probably get a lot more insight on that and everything. Like the Holly stuff, I didn't really mind because Holly's just sort of getting into the groove of things and everything.
Hmm.
So I wasn't particularly bothered with what was going on with her. And I do know what comparison you were thinking of, Vash. I also the one I saw, I don't think I saw that one. The one I did see was a lot of people basing what Max looks like to the Labyrinth movie when it comes to how she looks kind of similar to Sarah Williams when it comes
Okay, I
to
see that.
when it comes to like her outfit choice and everything. So a lot of people like looked at that as like that sort of like Easter egg thing because there's a lot of like homage to like a lot of things that went on during the 80s when it comes to a lot of movies or TV shows, whatever the case may be. So I did see that, but I feel like that's probably like the thing that I do like this whole like Kamazats thing. I just find it like really interesting how it's kind of like you're like stuck in the middle between all of this, and I'm just like really curious to see exactly like how all of this is going to lead to and why Vecna's like scared of this cave. Like, is there a particular reason as to why when it maybe relates to something that happened in his childhood or whatever the case may be? Like, I am very curious to see like basically when it comes to a lot of stuff like this, it's just when something is just like so out there, I just have more and more questions, so it just gets me really intrigued to like learn more about it. That's how I am with
Yeah.
a lot of things because the whole thing, like when I first dived into it, is like I just I don't know. I didn't really know how to feel about it initially, but it's like as her and Holly were like sitting next to each other and talking and having Max relive everything in her life, which goddamn, imagine like going from square one when you're first born and reliving every single moment because there's some stuff in my past that I don't want to revisit again. So I can only
Yeah.
I
imagine
cannot say amen to that.
Yeah.
I can only imagine like with her, like going from where she was and then reliving what happened with Billy and seeing her own death, like
And
That's
also
tough.
Yeah.
going through Vecna stuff too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
She
what I
was
was gonna
going through some
mention.
of his past too.
Yes,
And I think
Oh, yeah.
one thing too,
I
like
actually like
yeah.
that. I like that because you see, like, what was it, like the late 50s or something? You see Joyce
I was just
there.
gonna reference
Yeah,
that.
young
Yeah.
Joyce.
Yeah.
Yep, young
You
Joyce.
see Steve's father there, which I guess it's kind of funny now looking at it, how that sort of well, shit out the whole Byers and Harrington thing has been a ongoing battle ever since Joyce and Steve's father, and now it's Jonathan and Steve. More on Jonathan now, but you get what I mean. It's just really funny seeing like all these characters, and then you see Karen there, you see Ted there on that little paper, like talking about the play, and then you see Henry Krill. And I actually did see this being brought up a lot too. It's like because I think people are making theories about this or just speculations or whatever before it was actually shown to us. A lot of people were like thinking in their heads, like, oh, is there some sort of like relation with Joyce and Henry Creel or
So-
Karen and all of that?
So I'm going to
So
transition
with
us that we are
was actually hold on.
no,
'cause, like,
we're here
that-
for the
that-
Vecna
well,
stuff.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah. Go ahead. No.
I just want to point out that we're here for the Vecna stuff, everything involving that flashbacks, because we're already getting into that conversation, the Max stuff. Let's move on from that because what drop got us already into it. Watkins, let's build up to it.
So about like the 50s thing or whatever. So apparently this is actually a reference to a stage play that came out about Stranger Things called Stranger Things: The First Shadow, which takes place in 1959 Hawkins. So it's like, okay, we're getting some sort of tease with that stage play. Now I didn't get to see it. because I didn't know about it for one. So there's that.
Same.
Let's forget about
But, you know, I guess we're incorporating some of that like side stuff that came out too within the story. So I don't know how much we're gonna get from the stage play itself. I would actually like to kind of look up to see if there's any like written part for it or like just a breakdown of the story to kind of see what all goes on there. Cause like apparently, and I'm just gonna keep calling him Vecna because fudge it. Because apparently Vecna, you know, he did kind of go to school between like school and being with Dr. Brenner and all that stuff, and then to a point where then Dr. Brenner was just like, okay, yeah, no, you need to stay with us more than going to that school. That school you're going to, they're not going to teach you anything. You need to be with us more. So it's a very cool like little Easter egg that I hope we get more of in the actual series.
So
Yeah, I did like.
I'm glad you brought the Upwalkers, because here's where I'm confused. This is where nothing my pet peeve. This is where my curiosity would be for the next batches, because we know in the Christmas batch we're gonna get more of the Upside Down and more of the Vecna stuff in the stage play. So you brought up the questions that I'm kind of more hesitant, curious to see where that goes, because like you said, how the fuck were Dr. Brenner? Why would he let his crazy strong boy of Henry go to school at the same time in the town of Hawkins? Wouldn't that mess up your experiment, or you doing like a plan A and plan B? Because from our flashback that we understood from season 1 through 4, number 1 was hiding within 11 and the kids, and nobody knew. And number 1 was kind of teasing to 11 that, hey, you're stronger than everyone. But then Dr. Brenner was smacking number 1 around in closed doors. But then they took out the chip. Sorry, not they. 11 took out the chip, and that's when 1 went ballistic. But in my head, I thought Henry was old. Oh, sorry. I thought Henry was much younger than what it seems like, but it seems like Henry was older than what it was shown to us, and that's the thing that I'm curious to see. Because if Vecna / Henry / What's-It has actually more time in his life, that I thought presumably that he was actually much older than Joyce and Hopper, but it seems like they're in the age range. And how does this connect to the stage play? So there's going to be an interesting flashback of how everything connects with Vecna, the Upside Down, because Vecna as well coming out in episode 4, it shows that he moved his plan in motion, or does this or is this like a 5-year plan that he's been planning like Orochimaru and Pain, like every one of those type of villains, where he got Will Byler in the beginning of the show, where we saw the flashback in episode 1. He showed that, hey, you are the person that will have me start this from the beginning. You are the person that are the key. Not that we are in episode 4. We see this flashback of the stage play, but then we see that, hey, I'm going to get the kids now. But then we also have, by the way, this is my theory. I'm gonna bring it up now that kind of connects to this. Is that, remember when Erica got interrupted from her class of the wormhole? The teacher was talking about how wormholes are connected and how they're meant to happen and everything. Erica was the only one locked into the class, but then we see a portal that Will saw, that there is kind of statues or towers, and these 8 towers. I think that's like a connection to what could be the wormhole that connect from Upside Down to our world, and how all this connects with the stage play, and how all this will help us understand Henry more. That's like the big question for me of how Vecna showing up and like all the big picture. So I know I did ramble a lot, but Watkins or anybody wants to take the floor of what we rebuttal.
The only thing I want to add with it, I guess, is like, I guess with the Dr. Brenner part of your ramblings, if you will. I feel like part of this flashback with it, and especially with Vecna being one, it's gonna hopefully answer like why Dr. Brenner kind of went crazy or went mad a little bit, because like he never really came off, okay, this is gonna sound really weird. He never came off as like a really like bad person, because at the end of the day, there was a weird twisted way that he did care about those kids, you know, again, twisted, but I feel like because of whatever Vecna did when he was first discovered by Brenner, and whatever happened to lead him to like get the chip in him is gonna be part of hopefully this backstory we get in the second volume and all that. And I mean, when it comes to like all the other things we have listed here, I mean, we're supposed to be getting these answers, which I mean, I'm sorry, whenever I see like them hyping up being like, oh yeah, we're gonna get all these answers in volume 2, it's just like, I would hope we get the answer in volume 2, because if we don't, what are we doing here? Like to me, that's just like a comment just to make a comment. Be like, oh yeah, we're getting these answers. It's like, oh yeah, Luffy's definitely gonna find the One Piece. It's like, yeah, no shit.
Friendship. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, it's like I don't know. It's just I hear comments like that. I'm just like, duh.
Like,
okay.
Blade, talk to
I'm
us.
gonna-
What do you feel about this?
I'm gonna jump off of that because I feel like they did already kind of establish that Henry. A lot of stuff with Henry was already kind of just foreshadowed before. That I think Henry wasn't like, because remember the kids were taken early ages for having special powers. Possibility of being as strong as 11, etc. All those supernatural abilities. Henry though was the first one. He was the one that probably was found earliest on. But he was already developed already at this point. He wasn't a kid. He was already a teenager. And that's why I think that makes him so incompatible. And I think he was more ruthless in many ways, because that's why they put the chip in him, because he was so willing to kill these kids. He's so willing to hurt other people. He doesn't care. The minute that was taken out of him. I think that was already kind of foreshadowed before. So that's why, it is pretty cool if the stage play, which I do feel like I agree with Watkins on this. I would like to read it just to kind of just see how that story goes. At least I'm not saying I have to watch it. I mean, it would be kind of cool to watch it, but I want to see just the premise of how far they go into the concepts of the past characters, how that ties in with the rest of the series, etc. My thing with Henry in general is that Henry is a character that I feel like, and I saw this online talked about a lot of people, is not the main villain per se. I think they're hyping him up to be the main villain. And I say this because, I think people forget, is Vecna really Henry? Like, is everyone says he's Vecna, right? Everyone's like, oh, that's Vecna because they associate with Dungeons and Dragons. That's the concept of it, right? But is he really the central antagonist of Stranger Things? Is he being controlled? That's
I don't think so.
I've been seeing. Right. I personally think, though, I think he is being controlled to some degree. I don't think he's being, again, he's a bad dude. We saw this already. We saw how he was with 11 and all that. He's been a bad dude probably for a long time. But was that always a thing? Was that maybe something connected him from the wormhole, quote unquote, that opened up? Did something else from the upside down start getting into his mind, controlling him slightly, or aggravating his senses, aggravating his thought process to be evil? And then from there, he became more evil. And then now he's the character we see on screen. Is he the true antagonist? I don't think Henry's the true antagonist. I think the Mind Flayer is a thing that we haven't seen fully yet. And when it pops up, I think that's going to be the central enemy that we're going to have to worry about. Not Vecna. Vecna is like the pre-stage battle. He's the one that you fight before the final battle. It's like, surprise, I've actually been the bad guy the whole time. And you're like, shit. I think that's what
at least this time it's set up properly.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I
think
some
they're doing
other
a good job
stories.
setting it. Right.
That's something.
The stories is like the guy in the background goes, "Oh, it was actually me. I was actually the bad guy the whole time." Wait, why?
It was me, Dio, the villain the whole time.
Oh, hold on. We're not talking shit on Dio. Hold on. Wait a minute. Yeah.
No. I will not put any disrespect on the Dio, who's been the villain for like 5 seasons. But my comment about this, you bring a good point, because myself, Drop, and Watkins, we brought this up in our episode 201 of Weaves Lounge when we discussed that who's the commander, who's the general? Is it the Mind Flayer or is it Vecna? Who's the one controlling who and who's the one leading? And that's something that I brought up, and I appreciate that you brought it back up, because we know Mind Flayer was already always there in the Upside Down when he got sent by 11 to this world by Henry. So we know the Mind Flayer has been there. We know the Mind Flayer was so big and strong. And when we saw Vecna / Henry walking through this mountain of ash, like weird upside down world, and the Mind Flayer was already there. So have they been there for this type of thousands and thousands of years, and we don't know how long this long type of big creature is here. So it's gonna be interesting how Mindflayer and Vecna are connected and who's controlling who. And is there a bigger bad guy than the Mindflayer? Because we know the Mindflayer, is a 200-foot size motherfucker or more. So it's like you cannot escape the gates by yourself. So is Vecna opening this 8 gates of the 8 gates of hell? Which I was trying to go something with my guy. The 8 gates of what is it called?
Death.
Thank you. The 8 gates of death.
The 8th gate is the death one,
yes.
But yeah.
Yeah, so is he trying to open the 8th gate of death and literally have the Mindflayer come out? Is that why we need the wormhole? So, right before we go to our last section of character and pairings of others, I want to ask you, do you have any thoughts about this Vecna Henry stage play going on here? Is the Mindflayer the bigger bad, or is there a bigger bad?
Well, I definitely do feel like once they adapt the stage play, you're going to get a lot of insight that a lot of us have been asking for when it comes to just getting more insight on his character. But not only him, things that went on with Joyce and a lot of the other people that were around during that time period. So that's something I'm excited for them to dive into. So when Max walked in there and saw all of that, I kind of like how that was set up, because it's going to be really interesting to see exactly what they tell us in those next couple episodes. And I definitely do feel like there's probably like somebody like above Vecna. Like, sure, Vecna's doing, all the work on his own and he's doing what he needs to do, but obviously there's probably somebody out there, and it definitely is the Mind Flayer for sure, because he basically has like puppeteers for everything. Like, he basically controls a lot of things. So it should be no different here when it comes to that. But we also have to keep in mind as well that one thing was pretty apparent was that wall that the soldiers on, and the same wall that Steve crashed his car in. So
R.I.P. Steve's car.
So obviously there's like a lot of questions surrounding that. We don't know exactly what's behind that said wall. We don't know if there's a potential creature popping up, because we obviously know things are shown to us for a reason, and we know that Mike the Brave is playing that character as of right now. And if you guys recall that painting that Will did, you saw a big dragon on there. So I'm waiting to see that dragon pop up eventually, because that is a popular creature in D&D. So I would expect something like that to pop up, because things are brought up for a reason, they're foreshadowed for a reason. So obviously that's going to be a very pivotal moment for Mike, because he was front and center with that painting that Will did when he showed Mike that painting when they were inside the surfer pizza van in season 4. So yeah, a lot of like interesting things I feel like we're going to be getting with like these next couple episodes. It's mainly just going to be like a lot of lore based things, which I'm excited to get into, like the whole Vecna stuff and everything surrounding the Upside Down. What exactly is behind that wall, and just other things that I'm pretty sure is out there that I'm not thinking of at the moment right now, because there's still like a lot of things that need to be addressed, and they have more than enough time. It's not like these episodes are like 20 or 30 minutes long. Like, I just looked at the episode list for the next one, Shock Jock, which very interesting title, by the way, because it actually has to deal with radio and everything. So I wonder if Robin falls into that. But that episode's like an hour and 43. So like the way that they're structuring,
not to jump off that, I heard several episodes near the end are going to be almost possibly 2 hours. So
which I'm okay with.
So they should have more, so they should have more than enough time to do what they need to do and everything. That's why I don't really mind the time length and everything, because I feel like everything's going to flow well the way that they're structuring everything. But definitely, if you want to like call volume 2 something just really early right now, it's definitely going to be very lore based.
Well, and not to, before we jump to the next segment, and I want to go for what Drop said, where dragons, for example, being the central thing. Dragons in mythology and all the lore behind dragons, a lot of times can't control people. They can speak through them, via different ways, the different methods. There's plenty of games that have done it, like Dragon's Dogma, for example. They can't talk directly until they touch you or interact with you somehow, and then from there can work through you. And that's the mythos behind dragons with a lot of stuff. So they could really make him a central character. Like, it could be the whole time a kind of sentient dragon that's been around for ages in that world. Which would be interesting. you know.
Yeah.
But,
And just to kind of put a nice little cap on the Vecna talk here,
yeah.
chat, let us know in the comments, in the chat, whether you're watching us live or the VOD, let us know, is Vecna man or Muppet?
You know, usually I know how
That's
to.
all I was thinking here. Is just like, oh, he's just a puppet. It's just like, wait, is he a puppet? Is he actually his own man? Oh my god.
Usually I know how to work with Watkins when it comes to transitions, but there are times where he gets me a hard one. I'm like, I don't know how to use this one. But what I could use is
you gotta have teamwork.
yes.
Listen, be like this and controlling the strings. I'm now going to switch.
Yes.
Section.
Like
Come
Drop
on, man.
eluded
Come on,
us to characters for Robin and others we have. There's a few pairings that we did not get to speak to about, like it happened for these 4 episodes. One of them was my favorite for this pairings of these 4 episodes was Robin. Robin, you are one of my MVP of these past 3 seasons. You literally last season season 3, she solved a Russian code at the fucking mall and staring where at the locations. Conveniently, yes, but she made it work. She solved a Russian code. And then in this one, she fucking spoke in code where the military can't even hear this or figure it out what they're trying to.
Military.
Thank you. That's why I'm pointing that out. That's why I've been saving this for this reason. Because another reason why there's bad military, because we have a free public radio station that even the students listen to at school and take notes by 10 p.m., 2-hour mark for the crawl. Understood. Everyone has their assignments and their job, and Mike is also a good leader. Just like in D&D, he's doing it outside too, and I love it. Drop, I saw you pointing your hand. Talk to me. What is it that you got to say for Robin as well, or any other pairing?
Another thing I was going to throw in there as well is don't forget she was the one that figured out the whole music thing being connected to Vecna as well.
Yes.
For when her and Nancy visited Henry's father, she was able to tell them, okay, you need to use music to connect to people in order for you to get ahead somehow. So that's another thing you could throw in there. If you want to get
exactly, that's a good point.
Yep.
And to add on top of that, with Robin, she even helped understand and help Will, like we mentioned earlier, when it comes to that. But she also helped Robin also like talk to her peer. Like I felt like Robin was the center point of helping other characters get into the progression of where they need to go or where they need to evolve. Like even for example, I was happy to finally see a dynamic type of mission between Mike and Nancy. I thought they were both going to be nurses, but
cool.
no,
Yeah.
it was one of them
cool.
being the patient and the other one being the nurse. And I love how Nancy said, lip boy. And he started to lip. And the raptor said, what kind of fucking lip was that? He's like, it's a lip. It's a lip. It's a regular lip.
I love how awkward it is because it's just Mike. But like, but Drop, I remember like me and you talking a lot before the volume dropped, and that was one thing that you had kept mentioning is Mike taking up that leadership role, and he did it fantastically in this first volume alone. Like he was able to calm the kids down and lead them to relative safety until shit hit the fan, but he was able to come up with all the plans using the D&D characters, like during the crawl, during the I guess during both crawls actually. So having to deal with all that, having to deal with sending in Twinkie to get all the kids out and all that, like not Will. I forgot his name. I'm sorry.
I did. Don't feel bad.
Me too. All 4 of us forgot his name. Like, hey.
But like Mike really stepped up, and I'm so glad he started being a leader now.
My favorite moment of Mike is when he spoke to his sister. Like when he's told, like his sister, he
was a big brother.
A big brother. That's what it was, showing that he is a younger brother. Like he is the middle child, and that's something that a lot of cast members or actors sometimes don't show us that, or in storytelling. Sometimes usually the older child or the younger, but we saw middle child speaking and having a dynamic with his sister, Nancy, but then with Holly at school, and Holly was explaining, I got called in by my parents, I'm here, it's about what's it, and Mike just gave her a little toy that she put around her neck, around her chain, of a D&D, saying that you're not this person. Become the brave Holly. You are the ones that will overcome your scariness, overcome your imaginary friend. And I really love that about Mike a lot. Like, that was something that I was looking for from Mike. Like, him being told from Will last season, like, you're the leader, be the leader. And that's what he's been doing. Like, even when he was protecting the kids around the Demogorgon, I thought Mike was going to get hurt or probably who knows what happened. But for him to actually show the leadership of what he could do. And the first time we saw him even staring at Vecna or even knowing about the upside down, how he looked like for the first time, you're like, oh shit, so you him, okay. Still gotta protect these kids. So I love how he didn't break under pressure. That's one of my biggest shout about the parents in the season. I know, Drop, or you guys could talk about Steve, because I know Drop wants to really hone down on the Steve. I know he wants to preach on it. I know for that for sure.
You mean also, aka the litmus test of media literacy?
Oh yeah. So Drop, I want to pass it on to you first. Be our Steve Church right now. Talk to us.
Yeah, so one of my main issues with the beginning of season 5 of Stranger Things is a lot of people looking at Steve in a different way because of how he's acting in the season. Because I avoided all of social media when season 5 dropped, because obviously I don't want to just hop on there as I'm watching it, because there's going to be those people out there that are just going to watch the last episode and just show Will getting powers, even though we saw it happening. You obviously know people are just gonna throw it on there just because it's available to the public and everything now. But I made sure I avoided social media completely. One of the things that I saw, and it was all over my timeline every time I refreshed the page, what's wrong with Steve this season? Why is Steve's character regressing? Why does this feel like season 1 Steve? Why is Steve being mean to Dustin? Why is Steve it's trying to get in the way of Jonathan and Nancy? Why is Steve doing this? Why is Steve doing that? And then when I was looking at it, I'm like, I am I coming out of retirement now? Like, do I have to take the boots? Like, I'm a professional wrestler, retiring, hanging up the boots. Do I have to put on the boots again and actually go in full defense mode when it comes to Steve Harrington? Because the way that I looked at Steve, I mean, the way that he's acting is very realistic. And that's one of the things that I give credit to the Duffer Brothers, is that a lot of the portrayals of these characters is very realistic, because you could see people like us acting like this, or maybe people we know, or maybe people that we see in different movies or books you read, or whatever the case may be. You could see people acting like this because it's very realistic. Because the first thing I'll bring up, of course, is the relationship between Steve and Dustin. And obviously, you know that Dustin is going through a lot of shit right now because he lost Eddie. And it's different when you look at it from Dustin's perspective, because this is something that he saw with his own 2 eyes. It's not like it's something that he found out, like, oh yeah, Eddie passed away, and then he gets heartbroken by it. He actually saw it himself. He saw Eddie die in his arms, and obviously a kid his age is going to be traumatized because of that. So you see him in the season, he looks like he doesn't look like the Dustin we typically see. Like, his hair is all grown out. He just in his like really deep emo phase right now, where he just doesn't want anybody to deal with him at all whatsoever. He's pushing away a lot of people. And when you look at Dustin like that, a lot of people are saying, oh, why is Dustin being a little shit? Like, are we watching the same show, first off? But it's like the way that he's acting makes sense, because that's somebody that's traumatized. That's somebody that's depressed. So obviously the way where he's separating himself from his friends, or the way that he's talking to certain people, that's just something that you see when people go through a lot of shit like that. And I appreciate that Gayton actually posted a video a couple of days ago where he was talking exactly about this, where he was saying exactly what I said. Dustin's going through a lot of stuff right now. He lost Eddie. It's really hard for him. He's pushing people away. And obviously the one person that matters the most to him in his life is Steve Harrington, because they're super close to one another. So him pushing him away could also be a way of him not wanting Steve to be in a similar situation with Eddie, because sometimes people push people away because they don't want them to be caught in that fire and they don't want to go through all that heartbreak again. So that could be another reason that he's acting the way he does, because you see him spitting venom at Steve, where he's just saying, Steve, you should be able to figure this out. Like, why are you so stupid? Why are you looking at this? Like, why are you looking at things this way? And then I'm looking at it and I'm figuring out in a matter of seconds. So it's like, you see friends like bicker and go back and forth with each other all the time. So it's like the way that the relationship was, it makes a lot of sense. And like we spoke about earlier, Steve has been trying for the past 18 months to reach out for Dustin. That's why you saw when they were talking to the car and he's like, dude, I've been trying over and over and over again, but you're being so stubborn. You're not listening to me. And obviously after a while, you get frustrated, which is a normal feeling to have. So with the way that Steve's lashing out at Dustin, and he was being completely honest with him when his face is all beat up, it's like, oh yeah, I fell, my bike just hit a tree and everything. It's like, oh, it's those kids, huh? You don't know like how to stop provoking them and doing this or that. He was being honest because that's what Dustin was doing. He was just going back and forth with the guys. He was taking a snake, putting it in the locker. The guys took the snake, they killed it, they put it all over Eddie's grave. He ends up getting beat up. So it's like you obviously see them going back and forth, and that's being built for a reason, because it's supposed to show once we get a little bit later, which more than likely you'll probably end up seeing in the second volume. We'll see that heart-to-heart moment where Dustin will break down, he'll explain his frustration, and then Steve will obviously share his part as well. And that's just a way of them coming together and a way to just make the relationship even stronger by Steve being that person that Dustin finally opens up to, so Steve could help Dustin through what he's currently going through right now. So when it comes to that relationship and the way that things were structured around that, I understood it off the bat. And when I saw people looking at it online, like, dude, he's not being mean to him just to be mean. There's a valid reason why he's acting the way he does. I would react the exact same way. And I'm pretty sure if you guys were trying to deal with someone and they kept pushing away or saying this and that towards you, you would get frustrated too. And then you look at the whole thing with Jonathan, where Jonathan pretty much instigated everything. He instigated everything in the very first episode, because when you saw Steve, when he was going to go up there, fix the tower, fix the signal and everything, he's like, okay, I'll go up there and do it, whatever. It's like, oh, this is a job for Jonathan Byers, because he can't get over the fact that, I understand back then, him and Steve didn't look eye in eye with one another, but you saw in that episode towards the end of season 1, Steve was going there to apologize to Jonathan. He was going there to apologize to Nancy. I still don't know if Jonathan ever found out that Steve is the one that actually gave him that new camera. So maybe he'll find out if it even matters anymore. But it's like Jonathan's the sole reason, like, why this whole quote unquote competition thing is happening, because Steve was just trying to do his own thing. He was just trying to focus. But then you get that moment in the car that I really like. You get a lot of people like looking at what Jonathan says, like, oh, why are you being such a meathead and stuff, like, oh, go Jonathan, go Jonathan. It's like, what do you mean go Jonathan? Like, what is he doing? What is he accomplishing here? Because the way that Steve is talking to him, and I had to explain this on a video because someone misinterpreted what I said in that video. I don't know why. And again,
I know
reading.
I'll jump into a second.
It's like, what the hell's going on here? But it's like, you look at that conversation out with him in the car. It's like, Jonathan, ever since you came back from California, you've been a pothead, you haven't been aware of your surroundings. Maybe if you actually took some time to read the room, you and Nancy would be fine. You wouldn't be arguing. Maybe I want to go there and be there for my friend, keyword friend, to help her out with whatever she's currently going through. Because then people bring up the whole thing about the flowers. Oh, why does Steve want to bring flowers and stuff like that? I'm sorry, dude. Like, her parents in a rough situation, and the keyword was we there. He just says, I'm going to bring her flowers. He said, maybe we should go bring her flowers. It's just a sign of saying, oh, yeah, we're here for you. We understand you're going through a hard time. It's just a sign of saying that person cares. That's all it was. And Jonathan just can't get over the fact that what Nancy said towards the end of the season when he was saying, oh, who's going to be charged? Steve? And then Nancy was like, oh, he's actually going up a little, which he has. So what I'm hoping with what this relationship that they have with Jonathan and Steve is maybe Jonathan can bounce off of Steve and look at how Steve grew as a person, and maybe he can look at himself in the mirror and actually acknowledge his faults and see if he can grow and become a better person himself. But who knows where that's going to lead to? But it's like the whole thing going on with Steve this season, the way he's acting. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. He hasn't changed at all. He hasn't had this quote unquote character regression. So I just don't know where this is coming from.
So,
and for the most part,
yeah.
it's coming from a lot of Jancy stands.
You said everything perfectly, and I don't want to add more than what you already have said. The one thing I want to piggyback and add is imagine and you're running through a portal that looks like a peanut butter squeeze. That hey, looks soft on the outside, squishable on the inside. That's what Steve imagined. He said, hey, he's asked everyone, want me to do it? He spoke. Jonathan said not. Nancy said yes. Guess why? Because that's her sister. This has been in a hunt and revenge for Nancy because of two reasons. Vecna literally showed her the possible future, and that dude literally just kidnapped her sister 24 hours ago. So her job is to find her sister no matter what, to not let what happened to Will happen to Holly. So that's why when they were at the church and mad about the car, and John was like, look at you got us stuck here. Nancy said it wasn't his decision only, it was mine. You know why? Because it was my sister Holly, just like it was your brother Will last time. So I love that Nancy wasn't defending Steve just because that's her ex-boyfriend or not. That was a good leadership decision that everyone agreed to. Just because Jonathan is upset that he's in a different world and because they gotta go through the same bullshit again, don't mean that Steve made a bad decision. Two people agree on it, and that's what matters. And I agree with everything you said, Draw, because I cannot rebuttal nothing against that, but I know that Blade wants to add more insight. Talk to us.
So you guys know, Drop said it perfectly with a lot of stuff, but what I want to add to it, and it's more from the kind of how people are, especially on the internet. People on the internet are probably the worst people 90% of the time to discuss anything relationship wise or growth because
well said.
Everyone here can laugh about that. Maturity wise on the internet, it's all over the place.
Yeah.
People do not understand what it is to be. And I've talked to a lot of my friends about this. You can be with someone you liked previously and be a friend with them if they mature about it. It has to come. It's a very deep thing that has to happen, but it can happen. It can. The thing is, though, is that a lot of people on the internet don't understand anything about relationships and understand anything about why someone's saying something like that. For example, what is it for when you go to the hospital? I've never met anyone that doesn't bring flowers to the hospital for someone that's a female person that goes to the hospital.
Yeah.
Or, especially if they're going with someone that's their family member or friend. That's what you do. That's a typical damn thing. I mean, I've never seen someone not do that. So I don't know why people are going, why would he say he's going to bring flowers? Like,
that's a common thing. It's a common thing of a normal type of thing that you got to bring to a friend.
Exactly. The thing of the matter is that, like, to go off of all you guys are saying, because everyone here is accurate about this, it's growth. These characters actually are growing, but they're growing in ways that are very relatable and realistic.
Yep.
You have Jonathan questioning himself because he's in a very vulnerable state where he thinks that, like, automatically, it's a competition. It's a competition. He's still in that vulnerable mode of thought. Steve, however, has grown beyond that. Steve now is trying to actually look out for his friend. He knows, hey, listen, I had feelings for her. Maybe I still have lingering feelings for her, whatever. But that is my friend first and foremost. It's the same thing with Dustin. Dustin and all the rest of the kids, the party in general, to him are people that he looks out for. That has been a running thing from season 1 to season 5. He has always looked out for these characters. He's always been kind of like the fatherly figure to them, even though he's not a father. He's always been this guy who's like, I want to protect these kids. These kids are like my brothers in many ways.
Well,
I want to be there for them.
He does want to have 6 kids. Remember that. So he technically got inspired by taking care of these 6 kids.
He wants to have a family, and ironically, by him counting that, it's almost like he's counting out what he has right now currently. But he wants to have a family, and he wants to be a protective father, and he's doing that as best he can. So he sees Dustin, who he's always been arguably the most closest with out of every one of these kids, suffering the most, and he's not able to do anything. He's on the outside looking in, unable to help him in any form. He sees Dustin struggling. He sees Dustin getting into fights with people. He sees him, lashing out where he shouldn't be lashing out. He sees him going back and forth. And unlike previous seasons where Dustin actually did go to Steve for, kind of advice once in a while or to see if he could help him, he's not doing that now. Dustin is in his own headspace. He's like you said, he's traumatized by what happened Upside Down with Eddie. He's traumatized by seeing that happen. And the fact that he blames himself for it because, I think they forget he did that to help him escape. he didn't do that just to help everyone. He helped him specifically. He was like, I want Dustin to live. He took Eddie took the sacrifice and took all those enemies and took them onto himself to give Dustin a chance of surviving. So that's weighing hard on him. It's only been 18 months. It's not going to be like, oh, I'm over it, guys. It's fine. He's good. He's dead. It's going to take you a lot of time. You're struggling with that, and he's young. His character's supposed to be young.
Death is hard to handle, even if it's for a kid at 10 years old, and they lose their role model. Where Eddie has said it, Steve and Eddie has been Dustin role model. So you said it perfectly that he's a young kid and he doesn't know how to mourn. Even if his friends are telling him stop wearing the Hellfire shirt, it's gonna get you in trouble. And Dustin is determined. He's stubborn. He's like, I don't care. I'm not gonna let Eddie, his memory go to waste.
He doesn't want his legacy to die. He wants to always remember him, and that's even the way he's acting, the way he has rings on his fingers like Eddie, the way he has his hair growing out like Eddie. He's trying to keep his friend alive inside of him by preserving his appearance as best as he can. Eventually he probably will outgrow that to some degree, but he right now is not worried about that. That's not his thought. Right now he feels still vulnerable. He still feels weak. And Steve understands, I think, to some degree, but he just knows he can't do anything, which is frustrating, like you said, like Drop said.
Yeah.
And Eddie also laid the. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say just like briefly, just to get back to Eddie, even like laid the groundwork to Steve in the previous season, just talking about how much Dustin looks up to.
Yes, you're right. Yes, he did. He said that verbatim, that he says, he looks up to you more than anything.
So like looking at how they are now, it just makes me think that maybe he's purposely doing this because he just doesn't want to relive the same thing again, which I don't think they're going to do, because that would just be a cardboard copy of what we just saw.
Yeah. And
Steve,
I mean,
I doubt that.
Yeah. And I mean, we could go on and on for ages about these three, because these three it's a really interesting dynamic they're doing with season 5. But I know, before we get into our final section here, I do at least want to quickly mention just another pairing that we got that had a different dynamic as well with Hop and 11.
Thank you.
Because now we're having like an actual team up with the two. It's not Hop constantly being like, oh, I have to protect her, I have to do this. Like, he's actually kind of working with 11, even though, she just showed up to the Upside Down without his permission and all that stuff.
Can I jump in one second with that?
Because of course,
you're absolutely right. And what I love about it is, why he's doing that, in my opinion, is because originally he associated 11 as being like a replacement for his child, his daughter, who we know died from cancer and all that. He's in the early stages of them, of them living together and all that. He replaced her. He didn't really see this as a different person. He saw her as, oh, this is my daughter once more,
Yeah.
In this season, I feel like he, as Watkins says, he's now starting to go, hey, listen, instead of me seeing it this way, my daughter's dead, unfortunately. She died. She passed away a long time ago. Yeah. You are not my daughter, but you are someone that I come to appreciate, that, you are someone I care about and stuff like that. So that's why he's partnering with her more. He still has those moments, like he did, especially the first couple episodes. He has those moments where he still doesn't trust her 100%, not because he doesn't trust her in the sense of, like, I don't believe you can do it.
He doesn't want to lose her.
He worries about her doing it, right?
He's scared of losing her.
But he realizes that this is not his daughter.
And that has even another part to it as well, because like he did go down there planning to kamikaze himself down there. He did have that plan, which is something I am sitting here when I saw that, I'm like, Hop, why are you doing this? No, how dare you go down there being like, oh, I'm gonna how dare. No, that was the one thing I didn't want in this season. Luckily it got stopped, because when he closed that door, I legit got.
He's gonna try again. Watch, he's gonna try again.
Recliner right here was almost flipped over when I was watching this. I was like, Hop, you better fucking not explode in there. I better not hear an explosion or anything. But from what it led up to, though, after that, I'm just like, oh, okay, good. So, you are safe. Thank the
when
Lord
I saw that
Christ
scene,
up above.
I knew Walkers was upset, or like, you better not, you better. Like, no. When I saw that, him having like, when Eleven just put a jacket zipper down, like, why do you have a bomb on your chest? And I'm like, no, it better happen. Walker's is like probably upset right now or something. because at the time I was supposed to watch the episode like in a full night, but I fell asleep in by the third, so I watched the rest that morning. They Watkins and Job already seen it, so I didn't know what has happened. I haven't been online, so once I saw, I'm like, damn, he better not die. We kept saying during our coverage, like, we hope he don't die, and he did it, luckily. But I do agree that I really enjoyed that pairing as well with Hopper and 11.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, my favorite 2 scenes of them in these 4 episodes was when 11 came through the portal and just kept saying that Karen hurt the Demogorgon with the wine bottle. And Hopper was like, wine bottle? Karen? Holly? Hopper's Karen's kid, what's going on? And his just attitude was so confused. But then the scene after when they were both by the train rails, I believe, and Hopper was bleeding out a bit, and 11 was doing a bit of the cleanup and everything, and Hopper was like, how do you know this? And he said, oh, it's because I know this because of Max and everything. But the scene that Watkins brought up, the emotional impact of how him explaining, like, I had a child, I had you, and I couldn't stop comparing or having myself be scared of losing you. And I love how 11 is like, well, are you able to trust me? He's like, on a restriction, yes, we could work together. You could jump over this, but you gotta time it with the lightning. Like, I love how he kept being scared or worried for her, but just still being a parent. Like, you're able to go where I can see you. But when you think about it, he's telling this to a psychic superpower girl. 7.
I'm gonna be honest, that sequence was corny. I'm like, don't get me wrong, it works for the show, but it's so corny at the same time.
It works.
Oh,
the story, guys.
I mean, it's still.
But we already been leaning on towards it because chat. Before I do the transition, I do want to ask: is there any other pairing we should shout out to? Because we already mentioned everyone, but I just want to make sure is there a pairing that we should shout out to before we move on to our predictions / theories that we have missed?
I don't think so.
No, okay then. So with that being said,
nothing's coming to mind. So.
Let's get on to our last section of the show, our predictions, our coverage of where the batch 2 of Christmas will land and where will the last one will be. Who dies? What does the end of the gate mean? The rift. What is the happening? Because my prediction that I will bring up to you guys, I believe remember in season 4 we had the roll of dice that number 11 got rolled. 11 would not be the one taken out. Vecna.
Sweet.
Yes, I'm referencing a tweet that I've seen and also one that
I've seen the tweet too.
that I've been telling you about as well, Joe. That
8 plus 7.
Yeah, the 8 plus 1 plus 11 makes it 20. If you think about it in D&D, it honestly makes sense. I played a bit D&D in my life to understand
you
this.
Always need to hit 20 though. Like,
yeah, critical hit.
Like,
When you think about it, because for those that have seen episode 4 already, if you've been here for an hour and 50 minutes, you've already been spoiled as hell. But 8 is alive. The season 1, episode 7 that people thought was a full filler. And
another surprise.
The Duffer said, nah, that actually means something. Number 8 is alive. Now we have 11 and Will connected to number 1 / Vecna / what's it? Does it all come back together? Do they equal a dragon? Because this is my theory. Because look, we have number 1, Power Will. We have 11 and number 8. They are 3-headed dragon. Could it be all connected? Would it be the dragon versus Vecna? Who knows? But this is my far-reach theory. So how about you guys? How do you feel about this D&D type of theory of the critical hit? And what is your own theory as well?
Yeah, I love seeing that tweet. Oh my god! I swear, if this ends up just being a whole D&D campaign, I might have some.
I saw that one, and I hope that's not true.
And the series over.
I saw that one, and I'm like, bro, if y'all do that, I'm like, this is like a full type of like, what's it in the memory, and then all happen in one memory. I'm like, bro, I can't.
I will literally hate on Stranger Things till the day I die. If that's actually how they play that ending, like I know they wouldn't do that because that'd be really stupid.
As long as it's not that book ending I saw where people were like, "Oh, this is just what was it? Mike writing a book trying to
yeah, I don't think.
What was it like? With the death of Will."
I saw that, but then in my head, I'm like, why would he talk about his sister having sex with Jonathan and Steve? Why would his
mom possibly cheating on his dad with
Billy? with Billy as a
Billy.
lifeguard. Why would
Yeah.
they do this?
What's his face? Mike's moving into anime. Yeah, that's why.
But one of my interesting, not saying theories, but one of my interesting questions that I would like to be answered for this batch 2 of episode 5, 6, and 7. Why is the Upside Down frozen in 1987 or 1983?
That's Vecna. That's Vecna.
That is possibly,
Yeah.
but everything's being frozen. It's just being frozen in that time without everything being moved and having the town wall. Like, that's one thing I'm curious. Like, what's the connection to the big picture? And that, like, that's my big, not say expectation, but that's why I have looking forward for the next batch the most. How or what is the end game in theory? I don't have one since I just jumped into the series 4 months ago, but I'm just more along with the journey. I want to see how this journey ends. I want to see where does everything lead up to. And like with the Duffers saying that they want to do spin-offs of this, like for example, they have the animated show that shows the connection between season 3 and 4, I believe. So like those stuff are cool, but like right now, what I want to see, like the cool theory I saw online, like the 1-8-11 connects to critical hit. That's a cool concept. Does it mean something? Does it go somewhere? It's very interesting to go. But Drop, you got any theories or any things that you're hoping to predict that comes out for batch 2 or 3?
I mean, if I'm being honest with you, that the whole thing with 11, 8, and Will, I wouldn't really like overlook it much. It's basically just the 3 of them equaling the 20, just to show that their power together alone should be enough to stop Vecna. That's all it is. Like it's not anything like a new form or a dragon or anything along the lines of that. It's just them essentially having a critical hit on Vecna with their power alone being enough to take him out. That's basically how I viewed that whole entire thing. That's why I posted that tweet the other day about the 3 of them equaling the hit because of the symbols behind them and everything. But when it comes to like how the series is going to end and everything, I mean, I don't really know. I mean, I have some things I discussed on like a previous video on my channel about how 11 could potentially sacrifice herself to close the gate once and for all. And maybe these 2 others fall into that category as well. You never really know, but that's definitely something I could potentially see, because you could only imagine like how much power they're gonna have to push themselves in order to like really stop everything that's happening now. And we've seen it in various series before where sometimes you got to use every last bit that you got, and then sometimes you end up dying because of it, but it's also a heroic sacrifice to protect all the people around you. So that's something that could potentially happen. But I feel like outside of that and everything, because obviously the thing that you could really see here is just the kind of endings you want to see for your favorite characters, really. Like that's like the best way I could really structure something like this as of right now, until I get more clues heading into season 5 a little bit more, is just looking at, oh, how would I want this character's story to end? Like with Steve, for example, I want him to be able to fulfill that dream, if it's with Nancy or somebody else, and actually, you know, maybe he brings Dustin to college in the last episode. That would be pretty cool. And then he gets a new car because obviously his is destroyed. But, you know, just something simple as that.
R.I.P.
Yeah, but it's like just
Goodbye,
something
car.
simple as that, where it's like Steve bringing Dustin to school, like his first day of college, like something like that. I would love just seeing how they're still there for each other even after he's out of high school and he graduated and everything. They still have that close connection. It's just those simple things that matter the most to get that closure that we need. I just want like good closure for like a lot of these characters. So that's all I can really say as of the moment when it comes to how this series ends. The thing I guess we could touch on briefly is like the whole like, who do you guys potentially think dying? I'm not gonna say Vecna because that's kind of obvious, but it's like I'll throw a couple other. Yeah, okay. Will, I can see it.
Yeah, I see that one as well.
I could see 11.
No,
I'm gonna say. Oh, I was actually gonna throw out there. I'm gonna be like, shot out of the dark, Jonathan might die, only because he has a certain wedding ring, which to me is just a giant red flag. Even though he kind of got it out of pettiness.
Oh,
Like,
he
let's
did.
be honest,
he did.
Like he's
No
and
reason
that
for
just
that.
kind of speaks to more of his immaturity this season. But that's a whole
And
different
Murray
topic for a whole
being the
like,
one supporting it as well.
I
Like,
love-
yeah,
I
you
love-
should definitely
Murray's
organize.
the goat, man. I
that's
love
just
Murray.
really-
Murray's the unsung hero too behind everything.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
just really cringe just thinking about it. It's like you have all this shit going on right now. You want to propose to her? Like, come on, man.
And the
the
way
best place
Murray
is
was
upside down.
talking
He's
to
gonna do
him.
it. Will you
Yeah.
marry me?
Oh, yeah.
There's that like lightning strike behind me.
Yeah.
Why
And plus-
now?
And plus, I just love how Murray was just saying like, "Hey, yeah, just do
You're
it." You know,
desperate, aren't you?
yeah, like that's your
And
possession.
they have the whole, and then they confirm the whole trauma bonding thing this season too.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So I also have we have seen the picture of a leaked picture of supposedly the chief of town, Hopper, probably got the job back. And Mike is talking to him in a chair picture. I supposedly saw it on the timeline. Don't know if that's real or not, or if that's from like the last episode. If Hopper gets his job back, great and all as
Cool.
chief, but I think that man should get a break. Don't even be a cop no more because the government, the whole military shit just has fucked up that town. Yeah, I should just stay away from Hawkins. If any of
What do you
these
mean? They
characters
protected the town.
live, yeah,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, y'all should
He
get
could
away.
become mayor.
Mayor,
Give him
okay,
more.
that
Oh, God.
that I'm okay with.
No.
Become mayor, fix this goddamn place.
No, we don't need stupid stories to happen. No, we don't need him to be mayor.
It could be.
No, please,
You
no.
said it was a
Oh,
picture
that
of
was
Yes.
Mike and Hopper.
We
I wonder,
ruined this freaking episode.
I wonder if they're mourning.
That could be a
Ooh.
possibility. That could be a possibility.
That's it.
I would love to see more interaction of Steve and Hopper together. We haven't seen that much because I
That's the
think
one
Steve.
thing I want.
This is my prediction. I think Steve. Not saying that he should be a cop or detective, but I think he should be something in the force within Hawkins or protection with Hopper work together. Because this man
I
loves
see
to.
somebody listen to me.
Hey, look. All I'm just saying
'Cause
is
that
that
was my theory.
it was.
sir.
Oh.
I was like, oh, because me and Drop were talking about because he had mentioned the whole driving Dustin to college thing. I'm like, oh, that would be great, and be like, oh, and because it just kind of came to me, it's just like, oh, what if he becomes like some sort of chief of police kind of thing? Like,
I see
what
Steve
if
like
he
that, yeah.
becomes that, you know?
You see
You know,
him as a
him-
chief of police though?
I mean, he's making strides to be a better person, and plus, him as chief of police he's charismatic enough.
Yeah,
To be
and
a
Robin
decent
is
one,
perfect
you know?
assistant because
Like-
if you hire one of them, you gotta hire both of them.
Well,
Crime rates at Hawkins.
That's the one name. I'm gonna. What's that special word they have for it? Like your dark horse, I guess.
Yeah,
That I'll
Mhm.
use her as my dark horse of a potential death too, just because of
Yeah,
that's a good
Oh,
one.
100% agree with that.
what was it like
Oh,
the
that would hurt.
shock jock thing?
That,
It's-
but
it's
also
possible.
she's
That would
right
hurt
now
me.
waiting for. Remember, guys, she's still waiting to reschedule her own date with the girl from the hospital.
Oh God!
So that's-
no.
So that's also
No,
a red
no.
flag.
Sorry, deathbed. I
No,
wish I could've-
no, no.
We know the whole
no,
history with like
no.
going on dates in
No.
this show.
Yeah. And you got to reschedule them at
No.
Enzo's. Remember,
No.
Enzo's got mentioned
No.
just like last
You know the
season,
funny thing?
where
No.
somebody could have
I
entered their
actually-
own date.
No.
I actually recall Maya
No.
actually saying that she wants her character to die too.
Oh shit! Robin
No.
said this. The actress said
Yeah,
that.
Maya
No.
said that. Yeah.
Oh shit! So hey,
No.
Robin's a good dark horse
No.
option.
It would
That's
hurt.
scary.
It would
No.
hurt.
It would
I
hurt.
care
No.
about her, so.
I'll be sad
It
too.
would
I
be a
love
shame.
her. And by the way, big shout out
No.
because I understood the reference when she said to her date, "Hey, I have bad news and good news." And her date said, "Can I get the good news?" She's like, The bad news is always first to say." And that was a line that Eddie said in season 4. Once I heard that, I'm like, yes!
Mhm.
And she also said, "A good friend of mine always says," and I love that. People will say, "Oh, but they weren't friends." I'm like,
Who gives
just
a
because we don't see them on screen actually interacting as friends don't mean they were not friends off screen for the past 2 years or 3 years,
Again,
whatever it may
trauma
be.
bonding.
Yeah.
Like
That's it. Also, trauma
like,
bonding.
that-
They
that
were
is a
hiding from a
thing. That
Demogorgon
is a thing.
and they went into Upside Down. So they did trauma bonding
Yeah.
too. That makes escalating trauma bonding.
Yeah, people. Act
Oh, you know,
like
by the way, I forgot. We know one thing we didn't talk about this whole thing. By the way, the one character who was a kind of surprise to me, that was probably the only surprise I had this whole show, was Linda Hamilton, aka Sarah Connor from Terminator, who pops up as the
Yeah.
as the whatchamacallit, the one that was experimenting with everything, and she wants to love
yeah.
all it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All about that.
I
I
like
forgot. all
Again,
about
the
that.
military sucks. So,
also, a
you
big
know.
shout out
Yeah.
to the teacher. I want to say a big shout out to the teacher that was there for the students. That was actually the Duffer Brothers teacher in actual real high school.
yeah.
So I
Was that
want to
really?
give,
That's
yeah.
cool.
So I just want to give where credit is due, because that's something that I want to shout out. Because if you have a teacher that believes in you and you get to hire her in your own project, that's a fucking full circle. So a big shout out to anybody that experienced this, please. Because I also have a teacher. I would love to do that in the next 10, 20 years if I have a project like this. So congrats to them to able to do that and have that experience, because that's something that I will not say. And a big shout out to, look, the bully that we keep forgetting the name, Twinkie. Not many people care about him.
Twinkie!
Not many people care about him like I did.
Twinkie!
Oh, Derek.
No, he's the
Derek,
goat.
that's his name.
Twinkie.
We remember by the
So
end of the
Twinkie,
show.
gotcha.
Twinkie.
him.
Twinkie.
I
From
like-
here on out,
Look,
Twinkie.
at
least amongst
first-
us, Twinkie.
At first, I
Really?
didn't like him, but I want to say by the
I still
end,
don't like him.
he was
Yeah.
good, because he got a fucking cult happening under the military under probably a whole evening. A cult happening. Said, everyone,
'Cause
close
they're
your
dumb
eyes.
kids. They've
And
been
when you're
held back
ready,
like 100
go to the
times, man.
bathroom. And the most
Dumb
funniest
kids.
meme, we have literally Mike and fucking Lucas be janitors trying to fix the water. And I love
Oh,
how they
yeah.
turn around and say, oh, are you telling me what's it? Go down that hole that we made and you will find it. And we have
That scene was so hilarious. I was cracking up with the whole scene.
that's one of my first
And then,
scenes I
like,
want to
one
give a
kid
shout out
pops
to.
out, He's in the hole. He pops up. He's like, and she's like, what the? And he goes
And just
back,
scream.
Yeah, because the funny thing about him is
Also-
as soon as they caught him up with everything going on, he caught on real quick and he kicked into gear.
He did.
right
He
away.
did. And I love that, because boy
Yeah.
was surprisingly at first an asshole, but then once he find out that, hey, what's his not as good as you think he is, he's actually trying to kill us and the other monsters, trying to kill your parents. And
You know,
a big shout out to Erica.
Again,
I just want to
trauma
say
bonding.
a big shout out to Erica.
Yes.
Erica was go, because she said, everyone eat the
Go-
pie. And once the girl said, I don't eat pie, I'm gonna diet. I love how Erica,
Sounds like girl, though.
the
Should've
actress,
eaten the pie.
executed. You should have eaten your damn pie, and stab her in the neck. She said,
Alright.
well, you should have. You should have.
Those parents will be traumatized and they'll never eat pie again.
Good.
Well, would it be good because they technically got saved? They got saved
No.
from a
Shout
Demogorgon?
out to Twinkie.
No.
That's all I'm gonna say. Shout out to
Twinkie
Twinkie.
did his job. He did a good job. I
Well,
still don't like him.
now-
But he did a good job.
No, but you know,
That didn't save
now,
him. It's
now he's just part of the portal or whatever's gonna happen there.
Yeah, he's gonna be one of the pillars.
So, right before we go to our transition of our outro and say our beautiful plugs of our shows and where people can find us, does anybody have any last theories or thoughts before we end our show?
So my last theory is that Will dies because he's gonna protect everyone and be like, no, I can close the portal because I'm more powerful than 11. Close the portal. Screw your D20 dice roll. It's not gonna happen. They're gonna pull that crap out of people. No, but you know what? I think there's gonna be multiple deaths. I don't think it's just gonna be one person. I think there's
Same.
gonna be
Yeah.
several deaths in the final finale because they want to. I think they're gonna want to have that really impactful.
Yeah.
And I can see it being kind of goofy if only legit one person dies, because
Mhm.
there's too many people in this group that you know.
Yeah.
And also Dungeons and Dragons reference, because I'm not super well versed with Dungeons and Dragons, but I know like from the games and some of the shows and movies and all that. Many characters die. You know, the party is not going to be just one person sacrificing themselves
Yeah.
to the whole party. It's multiple
Yeah.
people. That's the whole point of half these things.
Yeah.
Like, you know, someone else is going to do something to save them. So I can see multiple people dying near the end, but
It's
I'm okay.
usually
I just, as long as it's not like Mike and 11, because I feel like those would be the two easy ones to kill off, possibly.
Yeah.
You know, and
Mhm.
Hopper too will also be kind of an easy kill too. I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
want those three to die.
It could easily be those three people. Like it could easily be 11, Will, maybe a couple others as well. Because like the only other
Twinkie.
thing I could really see if
Twinkie!
like 11 is like 50-50 with me, because I could see her dying, but at the same time I could just see her losing her powers permanently and just living her life as a regular girl. I feel like that would just be the best conclusion for her, but I'm still leaning towards her potentially dying, because I just feel like you need some tragedy towards the end. You need to like just have something hit hard, because I can't begin to tell you how many of the members have come out and said that they cried like reading the script for the
Yes.
final episode. So obviously
Mhm.
something happens that hits a lot of them, and it needs to be something like incredibly devastating.
That, and to add on top of that, the Duffer Brothers have said in interviews or said that a lot of deaths happen. And I don't think they was
Okay, so
only
see,
talking
okay.
about episode 4. I think they're talking about overall the show. Of course, not
yeah.
episode 8, everyone is going to die. But it's like unique consequences. When you have a world that don't involve like a superhero, like a My Hero Academia, or like a world that has powers like this, and you're regular humans, like I kept saying in the first 4 seasons, how can this town still be existing? All of y'all should be leaving, or all of y'all should be dying one way or another. And we're about to get this in season 5. A whole army has gotten killed by Demogorgons and Vecna. We need more deaths. I'm not saying that me as a audience watcher wants death, but in this type of scenario of story, we should be seeing that happening front and center. And I'm sure, like Blade Ninja said, when it comes to a D&D party, if there's a party of 10 to 12 cast members, at least half or 1/3 of it is dying.
No, and also, you know what's going to die out too is the death of the Hawkins school system. Because after this, we have to really look at the fact that these kids have all been left behind multiple times.
Yeah,
they are super duper seniors.
Where the idea of No Child Left Behind came in.
It's Hawkins secretly, man, because there's too many people that are like left behind.
Yeah.
By the way, it's hilarious that I have no camera on, but I'm dying with laughter just because right now.
Oh, I can.
It's the truth, though, man. Like, come on, dude. Also, you know, listen, the audience that are watching the chat and watching, I didn't get to rant about one thing I wanted to rant about was the hair and all of this.
Go ahead. You have the floor for the next minute. Go ahead. Rant about the hair.
You really want that?
That's all that counts.
Okay, listen. So, you know what? Oh, I forgot. That's also going to be... So, the death of the school system in Hawkins, because that's to be redone completely. And also the death of all the hairstylists in Hawkins, because they can't cut hair to save their fucking life. They cannot cut hair. These kids have some of the worst hairstyles of the 80s, okay? I have seen 80s hairstyles. In current, some people, you know, do the retro hairstyles. I've seen it from pictures, movies. No. None of them even close to it, okay? No. Just can't stand it. It's the most annoying thing. A pet peeve of all of Stranger Things season 5 is the hair. Okay, there you go. I'm done. Done ranting, I promise.
It's not worse than season 4 of me seeing the bowl cuts on almost all of them, so I'm happy.
Will's hair actually looks decent now.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm going to say. I'm okay with this season. I'm not as bad. Does the age, small differences bear in mind a bit of these actors having like a shadow cut on their beard? Yes. Does that throw me off? But hey, suspension of disbelief, pandemic, you gotta understand, chat, and I work in production. So at the end of the day, I have dealt with stylists as well. So sometimes they don't know how to cut black hair as well. Stuff like that happens on set.
They put a wig on Lucas, man. That ain't a haircut. That was a wig, okay? Listen, you can see, if you really want to nitpick this, you look at some of his like little parts of his hair are coming up during some sequences. Trust me, you'll find them. It's a wig.
Drop. I saw you putting your hand up. You was gonna say one last thing before we end?
Oh yeah. One thing I will say is, like, since I did mention earlier, I think I did, that I did get my ticket to see the finale. I highly recommend it if it does come to mind for the three of you as well, because I think one of the other reasons, well, it's actually an early Christmas gift too that my mom. So thanks, Mom, for that. But also, it's just like a different feeling because I never really experienced something like that. So I kind of wanted to experience that for like the first time, and it's just pretty cool because it's like I don't ever recall a show ever doing something like that. So if you guys are interested in seeing the movie in theaters, I mean, hey, go for it. It could be a fun experience, especially being surrounded by other people.
That everyone's gonna say, "Run up the hill, run up the."
Yes, Chad. That's a good point to end of the show. From that, go check out your closer movie theater options. We will be coming back here for Christmas coverage. We don't have an exact date confirmed, but once we do, Chad, just you will see the notification, you will see the live stream, you see the conversation. When it comes to the New Year's special, we will probably be doing that. I do say probably January 3rd, because I definitely don't want to lose Drop before he goes on vacation. So we'll be definitely doing it around that time. But more of discussions and more of the scheduling planning will be discussed, and you guys will have more of a news update or see our short form content. But before we end the show, the person that is our guest Blade Ninja, is there anything that you want to plug or say before we say our byes?
If you guys want to read my own thoughts on it, I did do a review from my website, Sunset Nerdverse. I don't know if we'll put a link for that, maybe possibly a description, please.
Yes.
But you could go read my review for that. I talked. There's no spoilers in case you don't want that spoiler. You want to send it to someone else that hasn't seen the series, the season, excuse me. But I talk a little bit more about some of my issues in that and all that. But yeah, and thanks for having me. Hopefully, I can be here for the next volume because I would love talking to you guys because this was a lot of fun. I appreciate you guys having me.
Of course.
It was a lot of
fun. Drop. You want to plug anything as well?
Oh yeah, so as you guys know, I'm not a new face around here. I am known as Drop This Box with walk-ins and Vash when we do Weebs of the Ring coverage, but I also do things on my own. I do stuff revolving around anime and manga. People know me for doing a lot of Chainsaw Man related content, trying to really push Kagurabachi and Ishi the Witch, because once those two series come out in 2027 with their animes, which that's what I'm predicting, I feel like they're going to be pretty successful. I know Watkins knows what I'm talking about because I know he's caught up with both of those series, so they're going to be really fun.
I got to catch up with
life. But that's basically what I do behind the scenes, is just, show another passion of mine when it comes to anime and manga related things on my channel. But then once I get put into this world, I get to showcase my love for other media when it comes to movies and TV and wrestling, like I alluded to with Weebs of the Ring. So all the information is located in the description. So if you guys want to check that out for sure, I would love to have you guys and talk to you in the comments.
How about you, Marcus? Is there anything that you want to promote gaming? Are you doing more of the Yakuza or Dispatch?
Yakuza.
I'm gonna try to. I'm gonna try to with both. We'll see. We'll see if technology decides to ever treat me fairly. You know what? It's been treating me fairly tonight. So you know what? Thank you, technology, for all your hard work tonight, for making sure that I'm at least crystal clear-ish on this lovely live stream. But I mean, other than, Drop had already mentioned Weebs of the Ring, I'm on there as well. I take care of stuff as well with like the main channel of AniMa W3 Studio. So like I'll be on our Weebs Lounge stuff. We're hopefully starting Shonen Ronin soon.
Yes.
So stay tuned for that. But to kind of hold you over with all that, check out Off the Binge as well. They're a bit more chaotic in here. Some of them go on lovely rants. Some of them might be super gooners. Some of them might, want to be all animated in how they talk. And some of them, are little cat creatures. But they're all joined by their lovely Latino heat, if you will. Bill Goldberg's #1 stan, by the way. And if you don't know that reference, check out Weebs of the Ring. Again, another plug for that. But yeah, I mean, just stay tuned. I do plan on at least doing my 2025 media video, like my best of thing that I normally
that you always have done.
Yeah, so I'll have that up probably on January 1st, just kind of like bookmark 2025 and all that. So yeah, I'll be getting that together. Other than that, I mean, all the other plugs and all that. I'll eventually get back to Twitch. We'll see. Again, technology.
With that, chat, you guys already heard from Blade Ninja from his Sunset verse. The website, go check that out. It's down below in the comment section. We also have Drop This Box. His YouTube channel will be down below. And like Watkins said, we have Weebs Lounge, where it comes out every Tuesday at 10 a.m. We have Off the Bench every Mondays at 10 a.m. on the main channel. And we also, in the future, by January 14th, on a weekly basis, will be Shonen Ronin being released on Wednesday at 10 a.m. And that will be a series discussing from the Shonen Jump chapters that comes out every Sunday to the Shonen Jump Plus chapters that comes out every Monday and Tuesday, and chapters that came out previously. So if you guys want to get back to Shonen Ronin, we'll be back on January 14th. But the Vault channel, where you guys are watching this stream, don't worry, some manga streams will be coming back every Sunday with your boy Legendary Vash doing his manga streams and catching up to Ichi the Witch, Kagurabachi, and many other series that he needs to be. But for this Sunday, it will be the My Hero Academia manga. He will be finishing this Sunday morning before Weeb's Lounge and Off the Bench recording. So guys, go check that out. Some anime reaction vlogs will be dropping as well. Some ReZero this Friday, and ReZero Part 2 the following Friday, and ReZero Part 3 the following Friday of Christmas. And then I will be starting back by the end of the month with my ReZero reaction. So a lot of content will be on the main channel, Weebs of the Ring, and the Vault channel moving forward. So stay tuned, chat. We appreciate for everyone checking and joining us tonight and taking the time to listen in. Don't forget to follow the socials of the brand and the team. All of the links are down below of the description. Lastly, share, like, and most importantly, get feedback and let us know what you thought of this Stranger Things coverage and what you thought about the episode. What are your questions? Maybe if you guys have any questions, myself or Drop will do some short form content, or maybe even Wonkus will pop up with one and be like, hey, you guys are buffoons and this is why you guys are idiots. You guys have reading idiocy. God damn it. And other than that, on behalf of everyone at AniMa W3 Studio and our guests, we thank you for joining us on our Stranger Things coverage. We see you later. Take care. This episode was not recorded by live studio audience, and don't forget to put some shredded cheese on your Lego by Eggos.
No. What?
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 What? Excuse me?
Get out of here.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good one, guys.